Oh, my camera. We're pretty much live though. Gotta fix my camera real quick. Of course, something comes up after. Let me put on this. We're still setting things up, but it looks like we got everything ready. What's up, everyone? OJ over here from PlayerEssence. Welcome to the PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. I have a very special guest here. We do have Mizzah T from the Mizzah T show. Now, I'm not sure if you can actually see the layout right now, Mizzah T.
Let's see it. Let me go.
I want you to react to your own picture, Mizzah T.
Oh no. All right, I'm jumping in now. Let me see if I can see what this looks like here. That is perfect. I love it. I love it.
I had to. I was wondering, dude. I've had this picture saved on my computer forever. I'm wondering, when am I going to be able to use this? Like, when does it actually make sense? You can't do it with Google Hangouts, but now that I have this own little format that I'm doing, I was like, you know, this is a perfect time to bust out
amazing.
the play. The playroom. Mizzah T is coming live from the playroom, guys.
They don't know. A lot of people don't know what the hell we're talking about.
No, they don't, but they can look it up. They can look it up. They can look it up, man. So, what's up, everyone? OJ over here. We got Mizzah T joining me for this special PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. Mizzah T, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You know, same old grind. Kind of been doing the same thing here, trying to provide this content for everyone. I know you've been a busy guy, so I was actually kind of shocked when you reached out to me. I was like, hey, man, you know, like, what's up with this whole thing? I didn't think you know, you would have time or if you even wanted to be on the show, but I'm really glad that you reached out to me. So I made it. I got you on as quick as possible, dude. You know. Yeah, man.
Because of the coastal difference between us, and like this time, my kids would usually be going to bed, so it's just like it's a Friday night, so obviously you don't have that problem tonight. So
yeah, so definitely it's really good to have you here, man, and I do appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely talk about your channel and everything as well, as far as what you do for some of the new people here, man. But I do want to talk to you a bit. We have we have a lot of stuff that went down. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but I think there was a little thing that went down this week, man. I think it was a Nintendo Direct. Did you hear about it?
I think I heard something about that.
Did you watch it from your PlayStation 4 playroom? That's what I want to know. Was it
Best place, you know. Sony always wins, baby. So
Sony always. I had Nintendo Ultron last time, so
I know. I watched that. I watched that.
everyone was popping off, but Sony always wins. Yeah, man, we had a Nintendo Direct, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about two of the big games that were, you know, announced at this Direct, and that was like, Nintendo did it so nonchalantly. That was the funniest thing. They're like, hey, we got Doom and Wolfenstein. Just like, it was just so like, yeah, you know, this is what we got here. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about a video that IGN did, where they basically kind of called out third-party developers by name, like by each one, which I was just shocked that they would do something like that. And then we'll have a nice Q&A at the end, man. So just first impressions before we kind of get into more of like what you thought about the Direct and everything. Like, what was your first impressions overall of the Direct, the structure, and what was announced?
I really enjoyed it. Like, I always liked the Direct when they started doing it this way, the kind of rapid fire thing. I know some people didn't like that, but I just felt like, you know, this is probably the best way to do it, because you can get the stuff that most people would complain about out of the way, like mainly the 3DS stuff, because people are so tired of the 3DS taking the spotlight when it comes to, you know, Nintendo. But yeah, I like the fast-paced thing. I like the fact that they came in and, you know, like I said, got the 3DS stuff out of the way, and Nintendo is doing their thing right now, man. I'm impressed.
Absolutely, man. Sorry about that. My daughter was knocking at my door for something. Don't even know what she wanted. But yeah, man, I have to agree, especially with the whole format. The format, how they did it, was absolutely perfect. I think that that's basically what to do in the future. But you know how they added in, there was a little wrinkle that they added in, the whole spotlight. Like our first spotlight title, our second spotlight title, our third spotlight title throughout the whole thing, and I really like the fact that they added that in. I thought that made it more cohesive as an experience. And then like the whole headlines, I'm not sure why anybody wouldn't want that. They were done with 3DS in like what, 10 minutes maybe?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes they were done, and you know, and they move on. But 3DS it's very important. I think it's still very important that they talk about the 3DS, because 3DS essentially funded nearly all of these games that we're getting. Nintendo's business, more than 50% 3DS when it comes to things. So it's important that they talk about it. And there's still a viable market out there. So I don't have a problem with them spending 10 minutes talking about some games for the 3DS and all that. But I thought it was a fantastic format and everything.
300% about the 3DS. You know, I know people just kind of want to hear about the Switch all the time, but like you said, the 3DS was definitely propped Nintendo up for a good while there. You know, they have to cover their bread and butter. You know, and 3DS is that still. It's still a big part of their business. So,
well, because it's the most overpriced hardware. It's the most overpriced hardware I've ever seen at this stage in its life. The fact that they're selling these things for $200 is absolutely insane, and that people think that it's a fair price for that as well. So, I mean, that's also pretty good. But give me 1 second, Mizzah T, and my daughter's wanting something. I need to take care of it because she won't stop. So give me just 1 second. If you want to get into your impressions about the actual, like, what were your favorite things, you can go ahead and start that. And let me take care of this real quick.
Okay, yeah. Like I was, like I said, a lot of people wanted to get the 3DS stuff out of the way, but I still want to hear about 3DS because I still own one. So I enjoy 3DS still. I don't play it as much now, obviously, especially now that the Switch came out and it's also a portable console. So it's kind of like, well, what do I want to take with me on the go now? It's like a fight to see who wins the trip for that day. And it's usually, at least lately, is usually the Switch, and so I enjoyed hearing about. Man, the 3DS just continues getting these awesome RPGs still to this day. It doesn't really have any Western support, so it's good that those Eastern companies are still supporting it, and still some really good stuff coming out. Nothing big, overly huge or anything, other than like Dragon Quest XI that was recent in Japan. So. Eventually we'll get it here.
Yeah, eventually. One of these days. I mean, but it'll be interesting to see if it comes. I mean, I think Nintendo will make sure it comes to the 3DS, but it'll be interesting because they haven't announced platforms yet. So it will be interesting to see if Nintendo just says, hey, Switch only. But I doubt that they would, but maybe they're waiting to see exactly where the Switch install base will be at it, if it's a viable thing to do, like if that's going to help them, if there's going to be like bundles or stuff like that. But yeah, man, I completely agree. I mean, I don't think that you can really, at this point, get rid of the 3DS. It'd be the dumbest move from an executive ever. Like, you have a system that's selling for $200, the same price as you can get Xbox Ones. Like, you can get Xbox One S for $200 in a lot of places, brand new. So you're selling
PS4 Slim for $200.
Yeah, the fact that you're selling this system for $200 and then you're selling software for $40, like you're selling essentially like sub 360p software. I mean, the profit margins are just they're way too big. Like the fact that this system is still $200 it's just funny Nintendo's been able to pull that off. So why would you be like, all right, let's kill it. Let's kill this thing. Let's kill this device that's selling for $200 and it probably cost us like $70 to make. So yeah, people just don't understand the business side of it, which is fine. And also there's a lot of people who can't find a Switch or who can't afford a Switch. So why not have a product for them to buy in the meantime as well? So
completely agree.
Yeah, but kind of moving on to the Direct itself. I think the big thing. I think they started off with after the 3DS. They started off with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. What's your impressions on that? Then I'll kind of go after you because I might talk a little bit too long, so I have to keep myself in check here. So you want to go ahead and go first? Visit T. What did you think about Xenoblade Chronicles 2? The spotlight on that. Were you already sold on the game, or did that sell you more, or how do you feel about it at this point?
I was pretty much sold because it had Xenoblade in the title. So, I mean, I love the series, and this is basically this is the actual sequel to the first one, which is great. And I love Xenoblade Chronicles X. And this, obviously, the fighting system or the battle system in this is a little different, which is I'm down for. I think it's more streamlined now. And the game looks great, man. I just know I'm just I'm just anxious about the time I'm going to be putting in playing this game. So but it looks really good. Like the world, the story looks like it's going to be really cool, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, man. It sent like chills down my spine when I was watching it. I think my mouth was pretty much dropped the whole time. I mean, in my live reaction. I was just blown away by how not only that, but like how better it looked. They improved the graphics,
Yeah.
which they said that they would. So that's not a surprise. But they did improve the graphics. It looks better. It's looking like it's running really good. I like the depth. Obviously, I mean, I covered it a lot, but they showed off more of the different blades, and they actually showed off like the economy and more of like the titans and kind of like the world structure, you know, of like the different areas and like the political stance of each one. To me, that stuff is really cool. Maybe something that was kind of missing in Xenoblade Chronicles X. But that was more of like an exploration, like, you know, you're off on an uncharted new world, you know, so it's a little bit different. But I like the fact that it does have this structure as far as like, you know, what races are good at this. Okay, these people are, you know, here and this is what they do. This is their whole, you know, shadow operations organization. Like, I love all that. All that type of stuff is really cool. And I'm really looking forward to getting into that. But yeah, man, like the sheer amount of content, I'm a little nervous as well. Is that how much am I going to spend, you know, playing this game? How much time? But it's like totally worth it. I think it'll be worth it every bit, man. So yeah, this looks like a at least minimum, you know, 200 to 300 hours minimum, you know, type of game. Like,
At least 2 bills.
at least 2. So yeah, and I know we both have kids, so it's always tough.
It's a little rougher for us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I only got one, so and it's rough for me. So I can only imagine some of the other people out there. I always think of, gosh, I forgot his name, but he did videos with you guys. Great video game ideas not used. I think that's
He's got a village over there.
yeah, he's got. he's got. I just wonder, man. That dude probably got no time to play anything, man. Got to work and take care of him, man. But yeah, man, Xenoblade looks phenomenal. Did you get the special edition, or are you just gonna go with the regular one?
I got the special edition. Yes, I have to. You can't give me an art book and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not gonna pass that up. No way. I got the Xenoblade Chronicles. I got the Xenoblade Chronicles special. I got the Xenoblade Chronicles X special edition.
Yes.
There's no way I was gonna get the. I was not gonna get the X2. So.
What about that controller, dude? That controller. Oh God, are you gonna get that controller?
Yes.
It's expensive. It's $74. It's a $5 price hike, isn't it?
They're doing, you know, Nintendo is, you know, they know where they're gonna make their profits at, and they, you know, that little bump in price is gonna buy a new office building or something.
They finally realized that they can gouge us like everyone else with special edition.
Yeah, they knew it now.
They finally remember, because they didn't do that with the Wii U. They kind of started to, but many of the games didn't have that. If anything, some of them were even like they would give us like discounts on stuff like digitally, like
right.
with Legend of Zelda, or if you bought Pikmin, you got a discount on Wonderful 101. So if anything, they were like saving us money back then. Like now they're like, nah, spend more money.
They're like, oh, you know all that stuff we let you guys get away with on Wii U, not on the Switch, pal.
Yeah, no special edition for Super Mario 3D World. Just Super Mario 3D World. Like, nothing for Super Mario 3D World. Nothing. Yeah, nothing really. I mean, I think there was a Legend of Zelda special edition, but it was like very limited with the Ganon figure. Like very limited.
That was so limited. I was so upset when I couldn't get that.
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors, very limited special edition, like with the scarf. I think you could only get that in New York. Like if you're only in the New York store. So like they're like, it's like they were afraid of gouging us because of how bad the Wii U did. Whereas 3DS, they're like, oh, look at all these different 3DSs and special editions and stuff. So they've caught on, man. I mean, I don't like it, but then I like it at the same time because it's like, and you saw them kind of catching on at the end, like Tokyo Mirage Sessions that had a special edition too, and also
special edition for that,
yeah, and then Xenoblade had its special edition as well. So they caught on, and I kind of knew it was going to happen, but that they knew that people were that controller. Because
the minute I saw the Switch, I was like, uh-oh. Because of the way it's designed, I was like, oh, detachable Joy-Cons. It's going to be crazy with the colors. It's going to be crazy with the styles. I knew that right away. I was like, Nintendo's going back to like the fantastic N64 stuff with this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm cool with that because I want that. I want my console to be more unique that way. So I was looking forward to that stuff. So
and it's optional. You don't need. I mean, it's optional. That stuff. Everything's optional. You don't need to. It just gives people more options to buy. Like for example, like they did the Splatoon bundle. You know, with the Joy-Cons, now they're doing the Mario Odyssey bundle with the red. Although I really like that shade of red that they're using. That's really cool. Although it would have been interesting if they would have did like the red and blue, like Mario's like overalls. You know, I thought maybe they do.
Threw a little M on there with a circle. You know, that'd
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's just kind of, you know, the paint makes sense, I guess, with Splatoon with the colors. I didn't mind that one too much. And then they also have the special edition Pro controller for Splatoon. So yeah, that. But this one with the Mario, I don't know. It seems a little bit more tame. I mean, but hey.
I think by fall of next year, we'll we won't be complaining about that anymore. The tameness.
And I'm not. You know what? To be honest, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all because those bundles are like $300 something. So even if I like, it would be tough for me to want to spend the money on them just to have another Switch for the Joy-Cons essentially because the Switch is the same. It's just the black, you know. So for me, I'd rather just like, I don't know, buy a shell or buy like a skin, you know, that you can buy for your Joy-Cons. Like that's what I did with I have like Legend of Zelda, you know, skins on my I can just show it to my.
Just for like collecting maniacs like me. I mean,
yeah,
like
so.
I see a new console, it's like I'll buy it. Like I won't like replace mine. Like I'll buy that one too. You know, I don't trade in the old one. I keep the old one.
Yeah, I would love to do that, but yeah, the money would be a little difficult for me. For me, these $379 systems. So I'm good. Yeah. I'm good on letting everyone else do it. I can live vicariously through you guys, man.
Particular, it's like I don't have to buy another console. It's just the Joy-Cons. So that's what's cool about the Switch. You know, you don't feel like, oh man, look how cool that the console design is. There's no difference in that. It's just the Joy-Cons. So it makes it a little easier purchase.
I think people might get more mad if it was the console as well, you know, outside of just the Joy-Cons. So,
I don't know why. I don't understand this because this is not anything new. Like I have a jungle green N64 along with my gray one, you know, and I wanted all those other colors too. I just couldn't afford that back then.
Well, see, here's the thing though. It doesn't matter if it's not anything new. Apparently, it's not what people do at this point. Well, actually, Microsoft and Sony do it. Everyone kind of. I mean, there's been multiple. Like,
they definitely do it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I don't think you know. Maybe people wouldn't get mad. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that I'm excited about Xenoblade, so that's definitely something. So I want to move on to the next game, and this announcement actually like floored me. And if there's any games that I missed, just make sure like if you want to talk about a game, let me know, T. But this game floored me. I mean, Project Octopath, and when I found out about the demo, I literally dropped out of my seat. I had a heart attack. These people made me go full Hokage 4th mode. I had my whole outfit on by the end of the direct because I said anytime that I get hyped, I'll put on one piece of gear from Naruto.
Yeah, I just done. I saw you in the Naruto gear.
Yeah, like, okay. Halfway through, I was fully decked out. So, yeah, man. But Project Octopath. I'm not sure. Did you get a chance to play the demo yet?
I feel like a noob because I can't finish it. I'm on the last, you know, the little what do they call those guys? The three I can't remember what they're called. But I got to that and I just keep getting owned. So I got to figure out.
Are you playing with the guy or the girl?
The guy.
Oh, okay, see, like that's a little bit different. Well, it doesn't matter if you keep getting on. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, if you've played it, what is your impressions on the game? Like, how do you like it so far? What is your thoughts on it?
I love it. I love it. I love the art style of it. It's so unique, and the funny thing is, like, you know, I should be just like enjoying that game, and it looks like it's going to be an awesome game. But I couldn't get out my head like how awesome would a Super Mario RPG 2 look in this style? Like I couldn't get that out of my head for some reason, but yeah, it's awesome. It's a definite buy for me at this point, so I'm loving it.
A Super Mario RPG would be really cool in that like pixel art type of style. Although the Super Mario RPG, obviously, like they'd have to do something like the shaders. Like that game's like more dark. Like the themes in there, yeah. Like
I just like this whole HD 2D like engine they're working with, they calling it, and I just think it'd be cool in that art style.
Which is crazy because is that like middleware for them? Because like, Silicon Studio, you always got to be careful. These guys are like they're like the smartest dude. They're like Light Yagami or something like that, but not as crazy. You know what I'm saying? Not crazy trying to kill everyone. They're like that smart, but they don't talk. You know, you don't hear about them, but they're crazy good with tech. You know what I'm saying? Like they're insanely good with tech. Some of the most, I would probably say, just as highly skilled as the Western developers, if not more than a lot of the Western developers. They really know how to use tech. They make their own. You know what I'm saying? Like they made middleware for Final Fantasy 15. They made Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. They made the engine on that. Dark Souls 3. They made the engine that runs on that. Yves 3. And then they have really crazy tech demos that they put out. So I mean, is this middle? That's what I want to know. Is this HD 2D thing? Is that middleware? Because we've seen a bunch of Unreal Engine 4 titles, and none of them look like Project Octopath. So I mean, what's your take on? Do you think that's middleware that they're using, or is that just a gimmick that they're just saying, oh well, it's just anything that you can do in Unreal Engine 4, but we're just calling it this. So is it a gimmick, or is it actually middleware? What do you think?
I would have. I mean, I'm not the most tech savvy person when it comes to the engines and all that, but I heard you talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I think it is like a middleware thing. I think it's not just like something you can just do in what is it, Unreal Engine 4 separately. I think it's something they basically made like some kind of software set for this. I think. I mean, I don't know, but that's what it seems like to me.
Okay, so Randall, and I'll be taking questions at the end though, guys. But you said Randall says I can't find anything that shows Silicon Studios developing Project Octopath. Well, yes, you can, because in the direct they said it's from the developers of Bravely Default. so Silicon Studio, they're the ones who made Bravely Default. Now Square Enix published that in Japan. Nintendo published it here in America, and I think also in Europe, Nintendo published the game. But it's basically it's a trio of people that work on this. Silicon Studio is the developer. They're the ones who made Bravely Default. Okay, Square Enix is the copyright holder of the franchise, and Nintendo, for some reason, gives them money so it can actually come here and be exclusive. So that's kind of how it all works. But yes, Silicon Studio is 100% the developers behind it. And you can even tell in the battle system. I know you've played Bravely Default, right, T?
I love that game too,
yeah.
And this is basically the same team, right?
Yeah, it's the same team, and even like the boost, that's kind of like the default system. The only difference is that the default system with Bravely Default, it's like you can store it yourself. Like when you block, you save one up. Whereas this one, it just automatically scores for you, and then you can use all of them to unleash a more powerful attack on your opponents. And the Bravely system in Bravely Default, it's actually a little bit more risk reward, because you can actually queue up a bunch of attacks even when you haven't saved them, like you haven't queued them up like turns. This one is like, okay, a turn goes by, then you get an extra attack that you can do. Whereas Bravely Default, even if you don't have that, you can just queue up like 4 attacks, but you won't be able to attack 4 times after that for 4 turns. So Bravely Default is definitely more of a it's more risk reward. This one's kind of plays off that a little bit with the boost system, but it's still similar in its ways that you can do multiple attacks by storing up your points or whatever from each turn. So yeah, man, it's a very good system. I do like it. But yeah, it's definitely Silicon Studio. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe it's some type of middleware or some type of creative thing that they've done, because I haven't seen any game that's like that. And if anybody was going to do that, it'd be an indie developer for something. But all the indie games that I've seen made in Unreal Engine 4 don't have that shine to it. Like don't have that, I don't know what to say, don't have that look to it. It just has that really cool looking shine and polish in the graphics.
Polish.
Yeah, so it looks really good, man. I was playing the demo. I was playing with the girl, the Primrose, and very good campaign. Very, very good. The boss battle was, I wouldn't say it was super challenging, but it was definitely like I had to use some health. So
maybe I'll go back and try with Primrose and see if I have some better luck.
Yeah, well, make sure you level up a little bit before you go fight the boss, or you're gonna get bodied. Because like I said, I almost lost. It's essentially, it's funny because it's like not like a traditional, like normal RPG, I guess, with all the different characters like that you have there, like Bravely Default. It's like you have a supporter, and then like after a while, like the supporter's like, all right, I'm gone, like like peace, go have fun, So if you're fighting a boss, like that dude's not gonna stay for the whole time. So it's just funny. We'll see what happens in the full game though. But yeah, man, I really like it. So we'll kind of move on from that. Was there another game that you wanted to talk about in the direct that really kind of floored you, whether it was like an indie game or whether it was another game that you want to talk about before I move on?
3DS specifically, or just
any game overall? Yeah, any game.
Floored me? No, not really. I mean, I was kind of happy to see some more another game in the Layton series, Layton's Mystery Journey. That looked pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of them going back to DS, so. Yeah, I guess I was kind of floored by Minecraft.
Like on the new Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, like that was a surprise. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Not being able to bring it to the the original 3DS, and it was almost basically impossible. And now that they have the little bit of extra horsepower on the new 3DS,
a tiny bit. Yeah,
yeah.
man. Yeah, I was really, really like just. I guess we can kind of move on to Doom then. Doom and Wolfenstein. That was amazing. Now I had a little bit of a hint that it was coming, but still, actually seeing it in motion and actually getting the announcement was insane for the Direct. I thought it was very, very good for the Direct. What did you think about those two announcements? What were your initial impressions like when you found out Doom, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus coming to the Switch?
Called Doom, but back when I think the January event was when they showed, well, they at least no, they didn't talk about Skyrim, but we kind of felt like Skyrim was coming because we saw the little. That's basically the tease of it in the Switch's reveal. Even though they didn't confirm anything, we all pretty much knew Skyrim was coming. So once I saw that, I remember being in one of Terminator Juice's podcasts, the Juice's Loose podcast, and I was like, I think Doom is coming. Like, I just felt like it. You know, I didn't outright predicted it or anything, but I remember saying it in the podcast, and because of that, like I held off buying it because I just felt like it was coming to Switch, and it was hard. Like I almost bought it twice on PC, and I'm still gonna get it on PC. Actually, I just want to there's a little extra support because I felt like that was a cool thing. But it's like I held back from buying it, and I felt a little bit vindicated. I was like, yes, it did come. And I had no inside knowledge on it. I just kind of felt like it was coming. But Wolfenstein 2, like that was a surprise. Like I had a couple of videos back saying how I felt like there wasn't a game out on any of the current gen consoles that the Switch couldn't run. And some people thought I was crazy by that, but I just felt like that was the case. And because of the scalability of the Switch, I just felt like most games, if not all current games, could come out and work on the Switch. Obviously, it wouldn't be as, maybe the frame rate wouldn't be as quick, or maybe the pixels wouldn't be as high, but I just felt like it could do it, and I was vindicated. I felt like I was vindicated with these two announcements. So just amazing, man. I was
okay. I've got to educate some people in the chat. Randall Germain, straight from the trailer, the producers of Bravely Default at Square Enix. Bravely Default is made by Silicon Studio, okay? It's not made by Square Enix. Square Enix's people didn't work on Bravely Default. Square Enix, okay, published it. They are taking credit for it. But Silicon Studio made Bravely Default, okay? From the producers of Bravely Default at Square Enix, okay? Bravely Default was produced by Silicon Studio. Stop trying to tell me it's not Silicon when I know exactly who made Bravely Default, okay? Square Enix, if they're trying to take credit for making Bravely Default, that's fine. They own the franchise. They can say whoever, it's them, because they completely own it. They employed them while they made it. It's contracted work, so they can take complete credit for it. But trust me when I tell you guys that Silicon Studio is the team that made Bravely Default, okay? So stop it.
These things are pretty easy to find. All you have to do, you can wiki it,
Well, they're saying, oh, well, I don't see anything from Silicon Studio, nothing on their site. Square Enix is taking complete control of it, which is fine, but I'm telling you that Bravely Default was made by Silicon Studio. That is 100% fact. Okay, maybe Square Enix had some people helping out here and there, but the game was made by Silicon Studio. So let's move on from that. Now, yeah, man, when it comes to Doom, like I said, I kind of knew that one was coming, but to see it running and then to just have it there, that was incredible. But Wolfenstein, that was the one that kind of caught me kind of off guard. Like oh whoa, like I knew that it could potentially come, but it kind of caught me off guard. But it makes sense. It makes sense though because of Vulkan support. The Switch can support. Yeah. Switch supports Vulkan. That's what they're using there. It's already a super optimized engine as is. I personally feel that they could have brought the game if they really wanted to, because like Wolfenstein 1, that came to PS3 and 360. If they really wanted to work hard, and it was like 60 frames per second. It was like 720p 60 frames. So if they really wanted to, they probably could have brought Doom and also Wolfenstein The New Order, or Wolfenstein the New Colossus to the PS3 360, but I think it would have took a lot of work. So I just thought they just said skip it. There's no need, and then probably those versions probably didn't sell that well anyway. So the fact that they brought it to the Switch and they're saying that they're custom building as far as the game, they're custom building it for the Switch to make sure it runs optimally. That's great, man. Like, so I'm really looking forward to both of those. Just to support Bethesda, not necessarily because I'm huge into first-person shooters, because I'm not, but to support Bethesda, so we get the next one, like the next Fallouts or whatever, or maybe we get Fallout or whatever the case is. But I'm big on Fallout. I like it. I bought Fallout twice. I bought it on PC and I bought it on Xbox 360, or sorry, Xbox One. I did buy it on Xbox 360 too, though, Fallout 3. But I bought Fallout 4 on the Xbox One as well. And then I bought Skyrim on the 360, but I did not buy Skyrim, like the newest Skyrim, because it's like there's no point because it's coming to the Switch, so I'll just get it there. But yeah, man, I was really excited about those two, and it's good to see. But I also wanted to talk to you about, we got some goalposts moving at this. got some.
Of course, it's gonna be goalposts.
Yeah. Just got that hook. It's like back, man, when the 49ers used to play Jose Cortez, that dude kicked the field goals. Just the goalpost would just move. He'd always miss, bro. This man never made his field goals with the goalpost.
It looks like it's good, and then all of a sudden, clang, somebody moved the damn goalpost.
I swear this man had the goalpost move on him so many times, Jose Cortez, dude. Like, he's just the moving goalpost king. But, so yeah, man.
It's funny to see people go from, like, oh, it can't run these current gen games, so it doesn't run as good. Like,
it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look
like we knew that. Like we know the Switch isn't as powerful as these other consoles. I mean, I did this thing on my channel showing the size comparison. It was like, well, no, duh. Like, it's not going to be able to do all those things because it doesn't have. Obviously, the tech in it is more current gen or more current, but it doesn't have the space for the power consumption and all that stuff. So it won't be able to run these games as well. But it can still run them. It still has modern tech in it. And that's what I was saying. I was trying to show the comparison. But, like, now the goalpost move. Now it's not just about running them. It has to run them as good, which was never going to be the case. So I just, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. The Tobies are in full force. Usually the Tobies.
I heard you talk about the Tobies.
The Tobies, man, they are in full force. It's just like, Nani! No! They just start going out doing all sorts of crazy stuff. That's what they remind me of, because they're so shook that these announcements made them so shook that they're grasping at anything and just flailing their arms around and saying, well, it doesn't look. It's just like, just chill, okay? Nobody's taking away your sweet PS4. Your sweet Xbox One, your 4K, nobody's taking it away. People are just happy that they can take a version on the go. They can just take something that's portable. They can take it on the go and they play. And the biggest issue that I have is that everyone was saying that, okay, well, where's the third-party support? Where's the third-party support? Okay, and then when it comes, you make, you start making those. Yeah, it's like you're upset that it's coming. Oh, well, wait. Like, it's like, but this is what you wanted, though, right? Like,
Wolfenstein was one of those games where, like, well, you're not getting Wolfenstein, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're getting Wolfenstein. Well, you're not getting. It's always about what you're not getting on the Switch. It's like, instead of what you are getting, which is some pretty cool stuff, I would think. But.
Yeah, and like I said, it's those are current generation games. I mean, people even use Skyrim. They even. It's like, oh, well, it's getting Skyrim. Oh, well, that was last gen. Well, it got a bunch of upgrades graphically from last gen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got a bunch of upgrades that didn't make it the same as last gen. They got a bunch of upgrades that made it a current gen game, but it's not good enough.
You get these guys in the media, like, who have played Skyrim or who said they've played Skyrim, and they've been baffled this whole time as to what version of Skyrim this is. And I, as a guy who bought Skyrim twice on 360, by the way, as a guy who did that, I knew right away this was a better version than the original version. And I'm like, how come these media guys, didn't know that just by looking at it?
I don't know, because maybe they didn't trust the footage that they were seeing right in front of their face. Maybe they felt like, oh, well, they were just taking it from the PS4 and Xbox One version. I don't know what they were thinking, but to me, from a graphical standpoint, it's like, why would you use the old booty Xbox 360 code that's like blocked in a vault? Like, why would you say, okay, let's take this over this new, more modern feature set. Like, why would you say, let's take the old one from 10 years ago and port that one? Like, why? Like, as a developer, why would you do that? Like,
I don't understand it, man. It's just like, I'm just baffled. I'm like, this is obviously the better version of Skyrim.
Yeah,
you can tell just by looking at it.
It's easier to put on it. I mean, that's something that I brought up. Like, I didn't understand this argument that people, and I didn't make many videos on it because I literally thought it's like, okay, well, how do you raise your hand? Well, you just raise your hand. It was something that's just simple. You use your brain, you raise your hand. It's simple. That's how I thought of it with this whole Skyrim thing. I'm like, why are people arguing about this? This is dumb. Like, so I didn't really make videos. I'm like, I'll just wait. And then it came out, and I'm just like, no, duh. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would not make sense for them to go all the way back to the 360 and try to port that over than just porting over something with modern architecture using modern graphics set. It's just way easier to do it from there. So to me, it never made sense in the first place. But yeah, man, happy that that's coming.
Third, I'm buying it for a third time because just like when I bought Xenoblade Chronicles for the 3DS, I didn't need to buy that game. I have the Wii version. But it's amazing to me to be able to play a game that large, that size, portably. Like, and that just intrigues the heck out of me to be able to do that on the Switch. So definitely getting that. And, they added some stuff in it. It has all the DLC. So that's definitely a plus. So I'm looking forward to that, too. Bethesda got me on lock right now.
Yeah, they definitely do. There's some rumors going around based on, like, the Amazon listing that Nintendo's going to be publishing Doom.
Really?
Yeah, we know that they're publishing. We know that they're publishing. They're publishing Skyrim. So maybe they might be publishing Doom as well. So we'll see about that. That'd be some type of goodwill move on Nintendo's part. But I think with Nintendo, this generation has been a lot smarter with how they spent their third-party monies. When it came to things. I think, getting Fire Emblem, like, hey, let's just get Fire Emblem first year, like, not even first, like, let's get Fire Emblem Warriors out. Let's not wait. Hyrule Warriors came, I think 2 years, was it 2 years after? Yeah, 2 years after. Let's just get Fire Emblem Warriors out. Let's get Ubisoft to make this crazy XCOM Mario thingy. Like, instead of just having them do, like, just Assassin's Creed or do something like that, let's get them to do something, like, that's going to actually sell. Let's get them to do, these type of things. Then they helped out with Snipper Clips. They helped out with Bomberman. So I think they're just kind of doing things a little bit differently. And I think this generation, or with Doom and with Skyrim, they're obviously helping out there with that as well. So
I think those games will come next year, like the Assassin's Creeds and stuff. But I feel like, it didn't need to come. Like, we didn't need a late port of Assassin's Creed on Switch's a launch day or anything like that. That wouldn't have sold most likely. But I think the audience on Switch is audience that was on Wii U. A lot of these guys who are buying Switches are PC guys too. I've seen that a lot, where PC guys seem to be adopting the Switch to have something portably, on the go, to be able to play console, games like that on the go. So I think that that Rainway app is a very good idea at this point. I see a lot of PC dudes adopting the Switch right now, so that would be a good thing if Nintendo definitely allows that at some point.
Okay, so Gaming Mage says Bethesda's publishing Doom, says on their website. Okay, so the Amazon listing is incorrect then, because there's an Amazon listing for that. But it seems like Nintendo is publishing Skyrim. So yeah. So we'll see kind of how everything works out there. But yeah, man, I think I agree with you. I think those games will come. I think that Nintendo really wanted to focus, especially with this year with Doom. I think that's a big thing, like making sure that sells. I think that's Skyrim.
I think that Bethesda publishing Doom is also a good sign. I think it's a better sign than Nintendo publishing, because it's like they have enough confidence to publish their game.
Maybe they went half. Maybe they went half first. Maybe they went half first. They're like, all right, you take Skyrim, we'll take we'll take this. Like yeah, some type of deal, which is not a problem with that. I mean, I think in the first year, obviously, it's a risk for any company, but I think that because they had to work on this well before they even knew the sales of the Switch. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like the hardcore fan. Maybe, Skyrim isn't that big of a deal, but I think for the casual who sees a game like Skyrim on the Switch, just like in a store somewhere, they would be blown away by it.
Oh yeah. I think
It's a big thing.
I think it's a big thing, or just overall because of all the DLC. I mean, if you pull everyone's like, "Hey, did you beat all Skyrim's DLC?" Most people would probably say no. There's too much content in there. Most people haven't beat a lot of the stuff.
I haven't even beat Skyrim. I bought it twice. I haven't even beat it. So
I beat it, but I don't remember any of it. I mean, my life was completely different. You know, what was it, 5 years ago, 6 years ago now? My daughter was not born at that point, or she was just about to be born. Like I don't remember anything I played in that time period for the most part. So life was just, I was going through way too many changes with everything. So, and I was playing it like, I mean, I had a crazy job too, like where I'd work like 12 hours a day, then come back home and like just dead tired and try to play Skyrim. I fell asleep one time playing Skyrim, like just straight up, just knocked out playing Skyrim, and had to get up and go to work the next day and was late. So, and that wasn't a good day. So I just remember bad things from that time period, to be honest. I don't really remember many good things. So yeah, man.
The business has just started, basically getting off the ground at that point. So gaming in general was kind of tough back then. So
yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I think that it's a good call. Obviously, Wolfenstein 2. That's the big one. And that kind of leads me to my next point, or my next topic, is that IGN made a video. No more excuses. Like, third-party developers have no more excuses, and I was shocked by this video. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I can just tell you.
No, I mean, I felt that coming out of the direct, and to hear IGN saying this, please. Give more details. I'm amazed.
Yeah,
by that.
yeah. So it was Damon Hatfield, or something like his name is.
Hatfield.
Hatfield.
Wow.
He's been
That's
there.
even more surprising.
Yeah, I know exactly. He's been there for a while because obviously he hated the Wii and the Wii U kind-ish. No, he hated the Wii. I don't think he really hated the Wii U too much, but
Yeah.
I know he wasn't big on the system. But he liked like Mario Kart, and I know that he likes the Switch. So yeah, he was talking, and then I forgot who the other guy was, but basically it was a short video. It was like 3 minutes, and they just said, like, hey, the big news is that like Doom, Wolfenstein, those are coming, but what we heard before, what people were saying is that it can't run all these third-party games, like the Switch can't run anything, and like anything that it would come up, like Skyrim is like, okay, well that's a last-gen game, where's all the current games, but now with Doom, which is a current-gen game only, and with Wolfenstein, that has pretty much obliterated those opinions, or those like, okay, well it can't. Well, yeah, it can. And then they specifically called out. They said Activision. They said Capcom. They said EA.
Yep, EA and Capcom and Activision were the three I was thinking about.
They
most.
said all of them. Like, hey, why aren't you guys put anything? And I'll put a little caveat in there. I'm like, this is what Capcom does. I'm trying to tell you. People don't listen to me. Where were they at the PS4 launch? They did Strider. They did for the first 2 or 3 years of the PS4. You had Strider and you had Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, DMC Definitive. That's all this bum company did for the PS4. Had record sales, and that's all they did. And then their first real game, which was also on PS3 and 360, which was Resident Evil Revelations 2. And I think they did like some Resident Evil collections. They did Resident Evil collections on PS4 and Xbox One as well, like the old school ones, but those weren't anything new. And then they did Resident Evil Revelations 2, and then they did the whole episodic thing, and pretty much ruined the launch of that game. So this bum company has been doing this forever. So I mean,
I said that about the Wii. I was like, the Wii was like a phenomenon, and they barely supported that thing.
Yeah,
so it was just like,
that's always just Capcom. So I mean, you got to forgive, well, not forgive, but you got to just understand that Capcom's stupid. Real quick, we do have we'll get right back into this as far as what IGN said, but we do have a $2 donation from Kudo Tengetsu 91, and he says, "Do you think COD World War II will come back to the Switch now?" No. I don't think it will come back to the Switch now. I can expand upon the question later when we do our Q&A, but no, I don't think it'll come back. T, you got any quick thoughts on that?
I don't think we'll see that either. I think we'll talk about it, I guess, later.
Yeah. Maybe like a Reflex edition next year at some point, but not right now. But yeah, thank you for the question, and thank you so much for the $2 donation. I definitely appreciate that as well. What we were talking about as far as what IGN said. So yeah, they did call out all those companies, which is fine. I actually don't have a problem with them calling out Capcom. And then they just said, like, you guys have no excuses. We need to see all these games, and like we need to see them. And then they addressed the whole, okay, well maybe it doesn't look as good. Maybe the graphics aren't there, but that's fine. And they said what you said. to your point, like look how small this system is. It's a portable. It's essentially a portable, right? I mean, obviously it has the dock to help it run as if there was no, the battery. Like you're not going to kill your battery, so you can increase the megahertz or whatever. Get Shadow Fox here when you need him. I don't know where's Shadow Fox when you need him, but you know what I'm saying. That they have some things in there to help that out, I guess, to make it run more efficiently. To where you could upscale it 1080p, obviously with the HDMI cord. But essentially, the system, all of its innards are right then and there, in this thin.
Have the heat dissipation, doesn't have the power consumption that requires it, that's required to run the way an Xbox One or a PS4 can. And I just said that you should marvel at what it can do, and its form factor. It's just amazing to me, and I don't think it gets enough credit for that.
I think it's starting to get the credit, and
I think it will.
It is now. Now that you have. Doom, like you have, Review Tech, you have all these guys, bigger guys making videos. Blunty, he's always been making videos on Switch, but he's very happy with it. You have a Dreamcast guy, who's making videos saying, hey, he was wrong, stuff like that. So you have people starting to give the credit. I mean, I think, and the thing about it is like, it didn't take too much. All it took was just a couple big third-party games. You know what I'm saying? Like it just took a couple current generation ones.
It didn't take that for me. I made a video before this announcement called, I think it was called "Respect the Power of the Switch."
Yeah, I watched it.
Pretty popular video, and I said it then. I was just like, even if it only did Wii U, graphics on the thing, it was still amazing in its form factor. So, that's what I was alluding to, and to know that it can now run, these bigger, more taxing current gen games is just whoa, that's mind blowing. So
and to me, look, and like I said, you guys all know, how I kind of run things here and what I like. I like efficiency. You know what I'm saying? And like the problem that I have, and which I've always had with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and when it comes to these, they just seem like ridiculously inefficient systems. Like how much money, like your bill, like when you play these things, like how hot your room gets, like the ventilation, like it just seems to me like they're just using up so much like power when they run these games. That's why I had to go out there and get
It sounds like a jet engine.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
I had to go out there and get a Xbox One Slim because I use my Xbox One mainly for Twitch and all that, and like the original Xbox One, that thing would just, even while watching Twitch, it just gets, the ventilation just gets so hot, and it's just like a big system. So I had to get the Slim, so it saved me some energy, like saved me some money on my bill. I started noticing that, you have these systems on PlayStation 4 as well. They're really power hogs, and like I like how efficient and small and not hot that the Switch gets for what it can do. So yeah, I 100% agree with you there, man, when it comes to like the form factor and the power that it can put out, especially with, Tegra chip, we've seen that before.
Doing this at a price that is only $50 more than the Vita was when it came out. Like that is, like people talk about, how the expenses of the Switch or whatnot, but I think for what it does, it is. I'm surprised they got it at $300.
But I want to talk about that a little bit because there was some controversy with the whole Switch pricing with memory and all that. But this is what I don't understand. And I think Terminator Juice wanted me to talk about like NBA 2K and the memory, the whole thing, like the memory thing with that. But this is what I don't understand. Everyone said that the Vita sucks, or we hate this because you have to use Sony's overpriced memory, right? That's what everyone was saying with the Vita. Am I correct on that one?
Yeah, they've been saying it for years.
Yeah. Okay. So Nintendo gives you one has way more space than the Vita as far as internal memory, but then they give you the option to buy super cheap SD memory. But people still have a problem with that. Like they still get mad, like, oh, I gotta buy memory, or oh, it doesn't come with more memory. And this is something that I've had many of my users talk to me and say, oh, well, it's pathetic that that the Switch comes with this amount of memory, and then they use the whole in 2017 that argument, the in 2017 argument that which I don't understand. I know what freaking year it is, but yeah, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, but. Like, memory is cheap. It's something really, if you need the memory, you buy the memory, like GameCube, like PS2, like N64. It was the only system that wasn't like that. I guess like the Xbox that had the internal memory in there, and I know PlayStation
But
later
still,
released something.
you still had to pay for that. It wasn't like you were getting it for free.
That's true. Xbox was the most
hard drive.
expensive. Yeah.
It was more expensive because that. And I made a 26-minute video on this, pointing out all this stuff. Please go watch it.
I watched it. I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been overpaying for this stuff for decades, and it's like when you bought a PS1, there was no ways around it. You had to buy a memory card, and the cheapest one was $60. Like that was so that was a hidden cost. Like, of course, the PS1 was $300, I think, when it launched, but it was $360 unless you wanted to keep playing your games over and over again because you couldn't save anything. So we've had these expenses for decades in video games. Basically, when we started getting optical disc drives in our consoles, and like people say, well, it's 2017. Well, yeah, these consoles. We're overpaying for the hard drives in them, because if you take that same, let's say, $100, because that's what it's costing you basically for the extra hard drive in your console. You take that same $100, you can do way better than what they're giving you as far as memory, as far as space. You take $100, you can get a terabyte, 2 terabytes on your own at some places. So because of them having to manufacture those hard drives and whatnot, it costs these companies more to do that. And Nintendo was saying, hey, we don't want to charge you for that. You decide how much memory you think you need. You know, you could take $50 and buy a 128 gig hard drive, or 128 gig SD card. Why not do that instead of us charging you $100 more for a 64 gigabyte? You know, and that doesn't make any sense.
And that's what these Tobies and these kids, they don't understand this. Like I said, I have a lot of kids who watch, you know, and that's why I keep my content PG for the most part, okay? And I figured that out by parents. I've been hit up by multiple parents who tell me, like, hey, like, you know, I love your content, but, you know, like this and that. So I do have a lot of kids that I interact with all the time. And these Tobies, and like when I said, they're not, these kids like that are the fans of the channel or whatever, they're not Tobies in particular, but they talk like Tobies at times, okay? And the issue that I have is that they don't understand that flash memory. If Nintendo, like, let's say they put 64 gigabytes of flash memory in there, that's more expensive, like you just said, than just going out there and buying a $14 32 gigabyte SD card. It's just much cheaper for you to just go out there and buy the memory if you need that memory. For this portable, this system is portable. It's not, you can't stick a flash or a hard drive in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't stick a hard drive in there. And the worst thing is that, like, some of them even say, oh, well, you know, Nintendo should have made 2 models, like a 200-something gigabyte, and I would pay more money for that. I'm like, no, you silly Toby. Like, just buy an SD card. You'll save money that way. Like,
Why would you throw your money away?
Because they're so indoctrinated. Like Saren from like Mass Effect 1, like the Reapers, they're so indoctrinated by thinking that you have to get a hard drive that says 500 gigabytes, but you don't really get 500 gigabytes. Like, they're so indoctrinated by Microsoft and Sony with these massive hard drive spaces, and it's already built into their head that they, like, 500, that's the best. When they don't realize that if you buy Gears of War, you buy Forza, and you buy Halo 5, you don't have any hard drive space.
It's done.
That will literally, I don't know if you can even have another game. Like, if you buy Forza, and if you buy Gears of War, and if you bought a 500 gigabyte hard drive, which most people have, don't tell me people have, oh, so many people have terabyte hard drives. No, they don't. Most people have the 500 gigabyte hard drive because it's the cheapest Xbox brand, or it's the cheapest PS4. 500 gigabytes is what most people have. You have no hard drive. If you have an Xbox, trust me, I had to delete Gears of War. It's too much space. It's over 100 gigabytes. Over 100 gigabytes of space, you know. So that's that's what these people, they're not understanding, which I wanted to
saying earlier. You were talking about efficiency. Those magnetic moving parts hard drives are not very efficient. And then that's one of the biggest things about it. Like, flash memory is way more efficient, but it's more expensive, especially in the confines of a video game console. So they're just giving you the option to save your own money and buy what you want, buy what you feel like you need. And the Switch is still better than the other options, even with its small memory, because most of the time, 85% of the time, you don't have to download anything. It's on the cart. It's just some of these games that are coming out now, you have to download more, and that's still better than what PS4 and Xbox One are offering you, because no matter what, you can buy the physical copy. It doesn't matter. You still have to download it regardless. So you have no benefit to buying a physical copy.
And I've talked about this a lot. You guys know, my users know, and I'll talk about it every single time when we bring this up, because to me this is the worst travesty of this generation, which I've complained about quite a bit. Maybe you don't feel as strongly as me because I haven't heard you talk about it as much, but these are DRM discs. I truly despise that. Like, it makes me physically sick at this point that these are DRM discs. They literally are checks. Oh, you have the game. You know, that's all it is. They're not an actual physical game where that's where the game is. You can play off of there. And like I said, it's come to like a boiling point, especially for me, especially when you have a system like the Switch that comes out and it's a real system. It's like, oh, you have a physical game? Oh, well, at least you can save that space. At least the game is on there. Now, some games might be more, like you said, right? Like Doom, everything comes...
Better than downloading 50 or 60 or 70 gigabytes, you know.
Exactly. But everything comes on the cartridge. Like Doom, if you want to play the single-player campaign, everything comes on there. Okay, if you want the multiplayer, optional download. That's still better than being forced to download everything and it takes up all your space. No matter what, you're going to save space with the cartridge no matter what. Even with any game, you're always going to save space. If it's cartridge, you're always going to save space over... because the game's actually physical. My problem is that the games aren't real physical. They're actually digital, but you have a physical disc in your hand, but are they really physical? To me, physical, that means you can play the game off of there. You don't need to, you know, download the whole thing to your hard drive. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me. That makes okay. Then that's PC, but this isn't PC. This is confusing console.
Yeah, I find it so confusing, especially from industry and fans that just basically blackballed Xbox One in the beginning because of it's going to be DRM, but they have no problem with this. It's just like, your disc it's a code.
Yeah.
It's a check, like you said, to prove that you have the game. You don't really need it. But it's just...
But they're making you do it. But they're making you do it because they don't think it's a physical disc, right? Like, they're trying to trick you into thinking, oh, yeah, you have the physical version. But essentially, if they really wanted to, they could probably flip a switch and just say, yeah, you know what, you don't need that disc anymore. After you've downloaded it, they can easily do it, but they don't want to because they don't... Oh, my God. Because,
don't trust you.
And then these gamers, oh, we don't want all digital. Oh, but it is, but hey, we'll take it.
For a group of people, an industry that got so up in arms about DRM, they just completely are failing on this. To be upset about, like I said initially with the Xbox DRM situation, to be upset about that, but not realize you're in a DRM world right now on these big consoles. So it's strange to me.
It is strange, but one thing Terminator just wanted us to address too was like he feels that the what's it called, the situation with NBA 2K18 or 2K18 is a bit much. So I'm not sure if you know about this, but NBA 2K18 has a pretty crazy solution for some. I mean, it's like 5 gigabytes per my career space, like 6 gigabytes download, another like 22 gigabytes. It's like something broken up and all crazy, but I'm like, that's how much the PS4 and Xbox One was, right? Like, that's the game is a big file size. There's no physical version right now. There's only a digital version.
Actually, the Switch version is about half the size now than the Xbox One and PS4. Because I know I had NBA 2K, NBA 2K15, and I think I had to download like 42 gigs. So.
Okay. Yeah, so it's still smaller than that, but some people are
it's like 25, 26 now with the Switch version. So again, it's still better.
Because it requires, this one actually requires like an SD card. And I guess the thing about the Switch is that not everyone, obviously, people have not bought one, because if you, let's say if you bought Street Fighter, Disgaea, Puyo Puyo Tetris, Mario Kart, all of those games all on disc, you still have plenty of space. Like you still have all your space. You know what I'm saying? Like if you've bought 5 or 6 physical games, your hard drive isn't taken up at this point. Now, if you're buying, the indie games and all that, then yeah. But for some people, maybe they only bought like Fast RMX is small. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you bought like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, it's like 3 gigabytes. You know what I'm saying? So you could have multiple games, even digitally, and even then still have hard drive space, digital plus physical. So some people are a little, I guess, upset with that. But I mean, I think once again, I've said this.
Yeah, we said it earlier. Like with the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, you had to spend $360 to be able to enjoy your game. Like you couldn't just go home with no memory card. So this is the same thing. You take $40 to $60 and you buy yourself a 128 gig hard or a 128 gig SD card. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just have no problem because it's what we did before. I mean, if you want to tell me what's better, like how, and like I said, I've said this before many times. It's not me just saying it now at this point. Like, it's better to me. I will take a physical disc with buying memory because that's what we've done, And I'm more of, I guess, old school, I guess. But we did that with the N64, right? We did that with the GameCube. We did that
in
with
the cartridge
PS2.
N64 games. You had some of those games required a memory card.
The memory card you plop right into the
controller.
Right into the controller. Some of them required. I guess some of them didn't. But yeah, we had a
party games required a memory card on the N64.
Yeah, well, I remember my
all sports games required a memory card. All the sports games required memory cards.
My dad, he bought us a big old memory card where like you can actually press like a button. It was like digital kind of ish, and like you press the button and it'll switch over. Because like we kept on running out of those little ones, the little blocky ones, because of how many games we were getting. So I remember my dad bought us a big old one that was expensive. It was like $60. It was like 40 to $60, somewhere in that range. And like
the original.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, just saying the original PS1 memory card was 1 megabyte, and it cost $60. You had 1 megabyte of save space on it, and it was $60. So
yeah, quite expensive. I couldn't afford that back when I was a kid.
It was a tough buy, but you had to buy it because you couldn't say you'd be starting your game, you'd be starting from the beginning every time you played it.
Like the NES sometimes, man.
Right.
Yeah, definitely, man. But the biggest thing that I've seen as far as going forward with this, I don't really think it's too much of like a huge problem. I think most Nintendo fans get it, and like they'd rather have it this way than that. I'm just talking about some of the silly Tobies that claim to be Nintendo fans, and all this. But sitting here and like praising Microsoft and Sony, I'm like, wait, hold up, you were a Nintendo fan, so you know of GameCube, right? You know of N64, right? You know of these systems where you bought the system and you bought memory when you needed it, or if you needed it. It wasn't a big deal back then. It's not a big deal now. Like, don't get so warped up by these stupid hard drives and these DRM discs, like to make you like think that this is a better option, because it's not. I don't care what anybody tells me. DRM discs and 500 gigabyte hard drives with 100 gigabyte games, that's not a better option for anybody but the third-party publishers and developers. It's good for them. They don't got to worry about it. It's good for them, but it's not good for us,
Days you needed multiple memory cards because one Madden game will eat up your entire memory card.
Oh, I remember that.
Like you had to delete, you had to buy more memory cards, and this is better than that. This is a much better option.
Absolutely, especially if a game is physical, right there. Even if it's a physical and it's a digital download, it's a better option right there, right then and there.
If you're buying physical games on the Switch, if you went out and, like I said, paid $40 to $60 to get a 128 gig, you're good to go for a couple of years at least, I would think, if you're buying your games physically. Even the games that obviously require you to download more, that 128 gigabytes should last you for quite some time. Like right now, I have at least 30 games on my Switch. Well,
oh my
gosh. If you count digital downloads and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm approaching that, like with any games and stuff. So I'm approaching that, and I still have over 100 gigs on my SD card. So
yeah, I have around I have around that much, I think, because of the download codes that I get from publishers. So yeah, I probably have around that much, and I have a 200 gigabyte. I actually got a ridiculous steal when it came to gigabytes of memory. I bought a 200 gigabyte SD card. Micro SD card scan disk for $45 last year. So yeah, it was Best Buy flash sale. There was one left on there, and I saw it and I just snatched it as fast as I could. Oh man, that turned out to be a really good deal. But
250. That's gonna you're not gonna need anything as long as you're
200.
buying.
Did I say
200?
200. Yeah, 200.
Yeah, maybe you did say 200. Maybe I just didn't hear it right. But yeah, 200. You're not gonna need one for most of the Switch's life cycle.
Oh
right?
yeah,
So,
absolutely. I don't plan on buying. I mean, if anything, I'll just delete a game at that point. Like, like I'll just be like, all right, I'm done. I'm good. You can just archive the game. You know what I'm saying? But shout outs to Universal Juan with the $2 donation saying ZOMG. Two of my faves. Love you both. Excited for this. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Also, quick shout outs to Fox Videos and Ty Lay for the subscriptions as well. Thank you guys so much. Welcome to the village. Hopefully you guys enjoy your stay. Everyone in the chat, please make them feel welcome and get them some headbands. Got some new ninjas here. So let's go ahead and let's move on to the next topic here, and that's really getting into what was I gonna do? I'm trying to look here. We were talking about third-party exclusives. We pretty much kind of ran through everything. Yeah, we did. Doom went through that. Yeah, we've been going for about an hour. So what I do want to say is there any other topics you want to get into before we do some Q&A? Because I know since you're going to be on here, there's probably going to be quite a bit of Q&A. Leave at least a good 30, 45 minutes for that.
I feel like we covered the gambit here.
Yeah, we kind of did. Oh, well, do you have a most anticipated game for 20? I mean, it can be all systems. Just most anticipated game for 2017.
I have a favorite kid. That is tough. Just looking at the Switch alone, it's between Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade 2. Like it's between.
We didn't talk about Mario Odyssey much and Mario's nipples, but I mean, people were making the biggest. I just saw it, and I was like, okay, Mario with the shirt off running, but apparently it blew up. Yeah, but that's funny.
Understand these things.
the weirdest things will blow up on the internet, man. Like the weirdest things, like people complaining about the backsplashes of like icon for like the Switch, like people complaining about like, oh, I don't like the way that the splash icon looks. So developers were actually changing the icons, and how they look on these
granted,
games.
they are ugly. Some of them, like especially like the Snake Pass one, but it doesn't bother me.
Not enough to complain. Not enough to write a letter.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
Oh man, but it's funny. But so yeah, man. I would probably say like for me, Xenoblade 2 is just it's just looking like portable mode, lying down in bed, like grinding to about to like fall asleep, like till I have to pause the game.
On the Wii U, man, it's like it's gonna be cool to have that option where.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Grind off screen.
Yes.
Off TV, I should say.
Well, because I mean, it kind of gets kind of boring. Like if you have to do so, like if you need to power up or whatever, and like you have to just sit there in your chair or whatever the case is. I mean, you just sit back and just play the game. I mean, I always do that for RPGs. Like, 3DS was perfect for that. I mean, and I play before I go to bed. I play like 20 to 30 minutes of Metroid: Samus Returns every night.
See, I don't know about you, but like, I mean, you're a Family Guy too. But for me, like, this is a great thing because I feel bad when I'm like locked away in my hermit room playing video games, and my family is like in the living room, whatever. This allows me to like at least be around them when I'm gaming. So that's a huge thing for guys like me.
That was a big issue for me and my family beforehand. Like my room was upstairs and off, back in my old place, and like they'd be like everyone would be downstairs, but my Wii U wouldn't be able to reach, like it would say disconnected. So I mean, I have a one-story house now. I don't, I have a bigger house than I do.
I'm a 3-story, so
yeah, you got a 3-story, so
yeah, Wii U's not doing that then.
So this is perfect for guys like us, which a lot of my users they've said the same thing as well. Like it's just cool. You can just take the system out. You can go over there and play. You can play a high quality. It's not just like it's different from 3DS. You know what I'm saying? Like you can play like an HD experience, high quality, like Nintendo first party home console games. You know what I'm saying? Like the off TV play that we all love, but we all kind of realized that it was kind of limited. Because off TV play was great. On Wii U, like I liked it. I definitely liked it.
Best.
The screen wasn't the best, but at least you could do that. But at least you could. It was an option, But now they've like obviously like perfected it to the T at this point, right? Because it's like it's the system itself, and it's more comfortable to hold, and it's less bulky. Oh, and if there's Joy-Cons, you can play multiplayer like with the. I mean, me and my daughter, we did Fast RMX all the time. Like when that came out, we would put in a lot of time with Fast RMX playing split Joy-Con play, you know, so kitchen table, things like that. So
Doesn't play video games at all, and to be able to like just bring the Switch and plop it down in front of her on the coffee table, where she's, you know, where she at, and we could start playing snipper clips, like that. She would never come into my, like I said, my hermit man cave of gaming, but to be able to do that, she'll play it now, you know. So that's very cool, man.
Yeah, agreed. Somebody in the chat was like, "Who's excited for Fire Emblem Warriors?" I'm very excited for that game. I bought the special edition.
There's so much stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it looks like they showed off Lynn, and it looks like Sheeta is also is in there as well, man. So yeah, there's a lot of
special edition on that one.
Yeah, I got the special edition on that one. The Best Buy Gamers Club, man. Got it for, I had a discount too, a $5 coupon, so I got it for $64. I was happy. Really happy about that. The special edition, getting it for that price. So
because Best Buy isn't like the most convenient for me where I live, so
yeah, it's
that's
unfortunate.
the only reason.
Yeah, for some it's just too far away for some, you know, because like Best Buy, it's not like they're like a bustling business, you know what I'm saying? Like they got them all over the place.
They got
like,
GameStops everywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, but Best Buy's like there's only one. I mean, we got 400 to 500,000 people where I'm at, you know, it's Central Valley, and there's only one Best Buy. There's like a ton of people here, you know, we got one Best Buy, you know, so it's not like there's a lot.
In a small town, I have to drive to like the nearest city to get to Best Buy. It's not. I mean, it's not that far. But it's a 25-minute drive.
Yeah, that's not really convenient. Yeah, that's not really convenient when you got, you know, you can get like. What do you do? Do you do Amazon?
I do Amazon mostly. Yeah,
just get stuff. I mean, sent to your house. That's convenient. But for me, it's like, you know, Best Buy isn't too far away. Like I can just hop on the highway and get there in about 15 minutes. So for me, it's not too far away. So yeah, man. But yeah, we're all excited for probably a lot of the games that we missed on there. Like, there's a lot of games to go over. My head is just kind of spinning.
Mention like what is it? Payday 2 and Siberia 3. I mean, there's stuff coming that you know is kind of in the underbelly that we don't even think about.
Runner 3. Oh man, that looks good. I know you're a big fan of that game too. So.
I love the Runner series.
Yeah.
I love Runner 2. So, oh man, Runner 3 looks amazing. It looks awesome. So.
Yeah, Runner 3 looks really good. So I was actually happy that got delayed. I'm like, good, delay it, please. I can't have Runner 3.
There is one thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick. One of your streams, you had mentioned about Sega, and I was giving Sega some love or something.
Yes, you were giving Sega love, weren't you?
No, bro. No, what I was saying was the legacy of Sega. I'm a legacy Sega guy.
Okay.
I'm not talking about Sega today. Sega today doesn't really do anything.
Oh, okay. See, that's my fault. I slandered you.
I was like, wait. You slandered me.
I slandered you. Then I slandered you, man. I'm sorry, but you should have let me know sooner, so I would have made a video apologizing or something.
I caught that stream after you had gone off air, so I.
Oh, okay, you caught it. Okay, I'm sorry for slandering your name like that. Then, I wasn't mean about it, but I just don't know. I thought you said
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like a malicious thing. I just wanted to set the record straight because no.
Okay.
Sega hasn't done much of anything, like especially for my game taste in a while. So. Yeah,
like Phantasy Star Online, like Phantasy Star Online 2 Cloud. But
then we can talk.
But here's the thing, that I actually like that they did that, because that kind of like exposes Destiny, you know, the Destiny 2 developers. Oh well, we're doing an online only game. How, you know, that's not gonna work on the Switch. And like, and then like Sega's like, hold my beer. Like, wait, hold up. We'll do a game that doesn't really exist. Like, it doesn't even. It's in the cloud, so this game doesn't even exist. This is super always online. This is completely
80% about it's online.
100% online, and we're doing this on the Switch. But you're telling me you can't do Destiny 2 on the Switch because of always online? Okay, so yeah, that kind of just that exposed them. That exposed them right there. So I'm probably going to talk about that in a video. We all
pretty much knew that was not the case when they said it.
Yeah, it was stupid when they said it, but there was no examples from the Switch that you can pull from. There's no always online games, you know, on the Switch right now. Like
the closest, like Splatoon 2 is like the closest to that. For the most part, to get, you know. 90% of that game is about being online and the online stuff. So
yeah, that's true. But I mean, like for example, like if you go into the plaza, I guess it'll populate. You know,
it's not being able to work if it's not connected.
Yeah. Whereas like Destiny doesn't work. like you know,
I got you.
yeah. So I mean, like with this Phantasy Star Online, you have to be online. Like so, it's 100%. So that exposes that stupidity, which I knew it was stupid. Which I knew it was stupid from the beginning because the 3DS had a cloud only game, like a cloud based version of Dragon Quest X. You know,
Right.
so yeah, so it was already stupid from the beginning. But you know, whatever.
Nonsense.
Yeah, it's complete
When I can
nonsense.
voice chat and play online with people on my DS, you're speaking BS when you say these things.
yeah, it's ridiculous, man, ridiculous. But we'll move into user questions, guys. I think we kind of exhausted everything. We're excited for Fire Emblem Warriors. We're excited for stuff that we probably missed as well. So yeah, man, everyone's real hyped. So let us know, what are your questions? I'm gonna type in the chats. User questions.
It says Metroid, Doom, and Halo on the Switch.
That's
funny.
That's really cool.
That's crazy. Metroid, Doom, and Wolfenstein on
Well,
the Switch.
I know Sean Long was saying, like, if you would have told me that, like, Take-Two, EA, or not EA, but like Take-Two, Bethesda, and all these, like, you know, Rockstar, we're gonna have games on the Switch like a year ago, he would have called you crazy, you know. So
Think about just a year ago, the difference. And I just feel like, because I kind of talked about this in my video too, about the memory cards and all that stuff, is that much like the N64, the bigger games didn't come the first year because the carts were too small. And we're kind of having that kind of situation where if you wanted the bigger cart, the company had to pay more for it. So you didn't see like the Maddens and all that stuff early in the N64's life cycle until the bigger carts came for the N64, and they were cheap enough to where the companies made profit. So it's very similar to me. I feel like on the Switch, where you're gonna get those games, but they have to wait till those prices drop on the cart sizes, and then like next year, I think this will be a fond memory, as far as what we're not getting on the Switch.
Okay, so I'm sorry about that. NX Revolution, we had 2 donations from him. He donated $3 total, and his question was this. He said, so thank you so much for the donation, NX. I do appreciate that. NX Revolution in the chat. He said, where is the Doom Amazon listing for Switch? I can't find it. Also, with the Bethesda support, or with this Bethesda support, do you think we could see the Evil Within 2 and Fallout 4? So I'm not sure. I don't have a quick link to that, so maybe if you hit me up on Twitter, I can post that to you, because I got it off of Jonathan Foster's Twitter. So he linked me that. So if you hit me up on Twitter, I can get that for you. And absolutely, could we see the Evil Within 2 and Fallout 4? Absolutely, it is definitely possible. Especially if Doom and Wolfenstein do well. Why wouldn't they say, okay, let's bring over the Evil Within 2? Let's bring it in a double pack. Maybe they do Evil Within 1 and Evil Within 2, which Evil Within 1, that was on PS3 and 360. So I'm like, that's definitely possible for them to bring it over. At least maybe even the Evil Within 1 at the minimum. But I would think maybe both of them in a double pack or something like that. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. Fallout 4, maybe that happens. I'm not sure. I think the Evil Within would be more likely than Fallout, in my opinion. But we'd have to wait and see on that one. But you have anything to add on that, T?
Was what I think was more likely as far as Fallout and Evil Within.
Well, do you think that we can see these games because of the Bethesda support? Like we could see like Evil Within 2 or Fallout. Do you think that could happen if maybe...
I almost feel like Fallout is just a given at this point. I just feel like it is because with Doom and again with Doom and Wolfenstein being announced, anything's possible now, especially coming from Bethesda. So I actually feel like Fallout is more likely. I don't know why. I just feel like it is.
El Chupacabra 06 says, what 2018 third-party port do you hope for the Switch to get? I don't even know. I'm not even thinking about 2018 games at this point, to be honest. I don't know. Can you think of any, Mizzah T, that you're really hoping or looking to get 2018?
Just overall?
Yeah, just overall, any port from... I can't think of... Right now, my mind's blank on third-party games, like...
And gaming in general.
Yeah, gaming in general. Just any third-party port. Like, they want it to come over to the Switch? Is there anyone that you can think of like that Switch to get?
Really off the top of my head, I mean, I can't think of anything like that.
No, I can't.
That I'm like clamoring to be on the Switch. That I know is coming out next year as far as a third party.
I'm pretty sure there's some, but I just can't. I wasn't really impressed with E3 this year as far as the 2018 game, so there's not anything that I can think of. So, Metroid Prime is maybe coming out next year, so that's what I'm excited for. So Terminator Juice says, "Will your excitement drop?" Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'd like to see Tekken at some point. I'm a Tekken fan. But that's not a new game. It's not 2018. So
yeah, Terminator Juice says, "Will your excitement drop if Doom runs at 30 frames per second?" Yeah, my excitement will drop a little bit, but I'll still buy it.
I already answered him. I said probably wouldn't drop because at first I just kind of expected it might be 30 frames per second, and for a console like FPS adventure like that. It's the same with the NBA 2K18. Like it's 30 frames per second, but it still looks pretty good. It still looks like it's running pretty well. So I expect to have some, to take some, what do you call it?
Concessions.
Concessions. Yeah, I expect to take some concessions in the Switch's form factor. I don't expect it to run as fast and as blazing and as visually impressive as the bigger consoles. But as long as it's as solid and it doesn't drop from 30. I'd be fine with it.
I don't think, but just to I don't think it's going to be 30 because of Vulkan, the engine that it runs on, is ridiculously efficient. These are the same guys who got Wolfenstein, the New Order, the first one, running 60 frames per second on the PS3 and 360. Using this same.
I have a feeling it's going to be 720p undocked and 900p docked.
60. Yeah, I think it's going to be 60 because it's also another thing is like Doom doesn't have super big worlds, I mean, it's like, and like I said, it's a very efficient running game. They run it on the Vulkan engine. It's something that these guys know what they're doing when it comes to it. And like I said, maybe if the PS3 and 360 versions of the Wolfenstein, which uses the same thing, were kind of like, we're 30 frames, but they got it to 60 on there. So if they didn't want it to be 60 on there, then I'm pretty sure they don't want it to be 60 on the Switch. But give me just 1 second, guys. All right, Mr. T, you want to go ahead and answer one of these questions from here? I got to get my daughter some water. You have the chat pulled up, or I can tell you another question to answer. Degenerate Weeb says, if LA Noir does well, what Rockstar games do you hope for the Switch? If you can get that answered, go ahead, T.
I'd like to see Red Dead at some point. I feel like because of what Bethesda has done. Most games at this point are very feasible on the Switch, and Red Dead coming would be, you wouldn't have to question what their support is at that point. And obviously, I still feel like Grand Theft Auto 5 would do well on the Switch too. So I'm a fan of GTA games. Not as big as I used to be, but still a fan of the franchise. So it'd be cool to see those games come over.
All right, what games did you say? I was not in the room.
The Photo 5 and Red Dead 2.
Yeah, that would be good. So guys, I'm terribly sorry about all these questions that are coming in. Obviously, we want to get them all answered. I've set away some time to do so we'll answer as many as we can. So we have a $5 donation from Enrique Pinero, who donated 5 through Super Chat, and he says, a port of Platinum Games TMNT game with the split screen co-op on the Switch would rock. Even a polished port of the Red Flag game would rock. What are your thoughts? Did that Turtles game? It wasn't very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
we were all excited before it came out. And like, oh.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. So I would take how about Platinum Games reimagines a good Turtles game? So like Turtles in Time. Or the arcade. How about that? They remake that.
Manhattan, what is that one?
Yeah,
Manhattan Project.
Yeah, Manhattan. Like maybe they remake that and make it with modern graphics and do some split screen co-op. I think that would rock. Not that game. That TMNT game.
You're dealing with Nickelodeon. You have all these licensing things you have to deal with too. So.
Yeah. Turtles is kind of a busted franchise at this point. So yeah, I don't know about any Turtles. And the funny thing is that it has so much potential. The Turtles franchise has so much potential for video games because it used to be at the top. You know, like that Turtles arcade. You know, the NES port of the arcade game. That was like the greatest thing ever when I was a kid, or one of the greatest things ever. That
like
was
multiplayer experience in my house.
oh yeah, me and my brother, we would play that. We would beat it a million. We would beat it pretty much every weekend. It's like, okay, let's play Turtles. You know, like let's try to get the high score. Let's try to just do this. It was like we would make up our own achievements.
Like,
you know,
we didn't get bored with our games like these guys do today. Man.
oh man, these people will be like, they buy 15 games, play 2 of them, be like, give me more, give me more. I want more games. Like, I want more of this. This is just not enough. Like, did you play your other games? No. Well, don't worry about me. Oh man, but yeah,
I'm not
like
sure why they sound like the Iron Sheik when they say these things, but that's fine.
I tell you, it's the old IGN voice, dude. It's the old Matt Casamassina, the Nintendo fan voice in the comment section, dude. They used to always talk. It used to have me dying whenever they bust out that voice. So I just stole it from them since they're not allowed to talk about video games anymore, which is
It's those guys.
yeah, they're working for Apple, so can't talk about anything. But anyway, let's move on to the next questions here. Talk about Red Dead. A few Twitter DMs help me improve my Twitter. I'm not sure if I'm looking to help improve my Twitter, but I'll check it out. Let's see, we're kind of going through. Beyond Good and Evil 2 for the Switch. Obviously, as you think, is that going to come? I have no idea with that game anymore. Obviously, we had the rumors and all that, but I don't know. What's your take on that, T?
Predicted it would come. Like some of my fellow Juicy's Loose members don't think so. We kind of have this kind of back and forth discussion about it, but I feel like, and again, especially now, in light of revelations on what the Switch can do. I feel like that game is coming. There's no way Ubisoft would not find a way to put that game on a Nintendo console at this point. So, especially with the love Nintendo was giving them. So
yeah, and also the guy did say that they're making it to run on a wide variety of platforms. So I don't know why you would say that if it wasn't going to be maybe Switch on there. So I mean, we'll see. But Chad's Evansdale, I did see your post, and yeah, it's something that I can't figure out why every time that I do a live stream it says ARMS Global Test Punch 9, like Zelda Guardian of Evil giveaway. I don't know how to fix it on my Twitter. I have no clue how to fix it. I've tried to talk to YouTube. I don't know, so I just have to delete it, and then I have to try to just repost it with the actual name of it. So yeah, that's just something that I have to figure it out. But I've tried everything. I just can't get it to work. So yeah, but thank you for that. I do appreciate that. So yeah, man, I don't know. Well, we'll see with that. What about Batman Arkham Trilogy? You maybe you want that on the Switch?
It would be cool. Again, like I said, the audience on Switch is different than the Wii U audience, so maybe some of those people haven't played those games, because those games, except for Arkham Knight, were on Wii U. So yeah, I mean, I would have no problem with that. Was it a trilogy? I thought it was just the 2 games. I thought it was Arkham,
Batman,
Arkham,
Arkham City, Batman, Batman, the open world Batman-ish game, Batman, the one that came to the Wii U as well.
I thought it was Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. I thought.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then the Dark Knight or whatever, the Xbox One and PS4 Batman. What is it called?
I didn't realize that. I thought it was just. I thought it was
Arkham Knight,
the early Arkham games. Arkham Knight is on that trilogy.
Well, it's just part of the 3 games: Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, then Arkham Knight.
I think it's kind of messed up. They didn't. They just kind of act like they forget about Arkham Origins. That's just kind of weird.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, no, I don't have. That's the only one that I don't have. I rented it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I rented it, and I was just like, yikes. I rented the Wii U one.
To me,
yikes.
As Arkham City for sure. I don't think it was much worse than Arkham Asylum though. Arkham Asylum was like mind blowing at the time. So.
My favorite is Arkham City, but yeah, at the time Arkham Asylum was very good. Although it felt a little like it did feel a little closed in, you know, like even back then it felt a little like closed in. I mean, there were some areas where Batman could really, you know, you can kind of glide and do your thing, but like Arkham City really felt like, okay, yo, like this is Batman, you know what I'm saying? Like you're all over the place in that one, you know?
Shortcomings, like at that time, it was just amazing to have like a big AAA game with Batman, and it was good. It was good. Like
that's the biggest thing. It was good because I mean, I have to look at every day my Super Nintendo games and I see that stupid Batman Forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I still look at that stupid Batman.
Oh my god, Batman Forever!
I don't like that game. I know some people like it.
Like that game. I beat it, and dude, the ending in that game is so underwhelming, so unsatisfying after all, because it is hard. It's a hard game to beat, and I beat the. You know, I took a weekend. I'm like, I'm gonna beat this game, and I beat it, and it's just like, thank you. That was the ending. I'm like, what? After all that sweating, fighting the Riddler at the end. Like,
I hate that game. Like, and I would try to beat it
that day.
I could never.
I hated it after that.
I could never beat the game. I never beat it. I never beat it. I've played it a bazillion times.
The controls are so wet.
The controls are horrible.
Go down and A to jump or something. It was just so weird. It's like, why? The Super Nintendo has enough buttons to cover all these moves. Why are you having these weird configurations? It was just so... I like the visuals in it. It had that kind of
the visuals were good.
Mortal Kombat look to it. It was pretty cool.
And it seemed like a really like hardcore, serious game at the time. You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem like goofy at all. I mean, I think even the newer games are a little bit goofier than that game was, as far as just like the tone of the game. You know, like it seemed so serious
because it had like it was the first time you can like really feel like Batman. You got to use gadgets and stuff. It wasn't just running through a level, you know, from left to right punching people like most of the superhero games
like the NES Batman was, which was still good. Right. The NES Batman, but
I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm just saying that it didn't make you feel like Batman.
No, because you felt like Spider-Man sometimes, like in that game, like you were jumping off the walls, like you were like it was like, this doesn't really look like Batman. Like I don't think Batman does that, but hey, you know,
the controls and all that kind of stuff kind of ruined it. But
yeah,
I was still fine with it until that damn ending. After all that hard fighting, all that hard work, because it is a hard game, like I said, made harder by the controls, and to just be like, all right, you did it, bye.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
so pissed.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, I mean, like if they brought the Arkham games to kind of get back to the Arkham games would be cool. I wouldn't mind the Arkham games if they wanted to bring them. I mean, I don't think I'd buy them because I've already bought them and played and beat them. I've beaten all three. I've beaten, you know, and enjoyed it. Excuse me. If they ever made like just like the what's it called, the challenge mode that they have in there, like where you have to fight people and get combos. If they ever made a standalone downloadable thing for the Switch, which they never would, but if they did, I would totally buy that. Like it has everything in there. You can play as Robin. You can play as all that, because I was like one of the best players on there on the Xbox 360 as far as the leaderboards go. So if they ever did that, I would totally buy that, because that's my favorite thing about the game. Is, well, not my 100% favorite thing, but it's like one of my top things about the game is that
fluid combat.
Yeah, the combat, it was just so fun, and Robin was my favorite. Robin's one of my favorite characters, not the dorky Robin from the old ones, but like the cool Robin, then turns into Nightwing, like that one. He's my favorite character in the whole Batman thing. So yeah, that was fun. Then playing it, I mean Nightwing, I mean just I love Nightwing. Like nobody, I don't think many people do, but I like him. You know, so.
Who doesn't like Nightwing?
Well, I don't know. Some people don't. Nobody talks about him. Like it was like, oh, let's get a Nightwing game. Who's saying let's get it? Nobody's saying let's get a Nightwing game. Like everyone's like Batman. I'm like, well, what about Nightwing? You know. So, but that's just
he's so, you know.
That's just me.
Cool himself. So.
Yeah, I know Batman's just so cool, right? I mean, Nightwing's not as smart as Batman. He's not as strong as Batman. He's just
without Batman, Nightwing would just be some. He'd be that dude in the movie that got thrown off the roof. The Dark Knight Return, or the Dark Knight movie.
Man, everyone hating on Nightwing now, man. But whatever. Anyway, we're gonna.
I need Batman to be Nightwing, so that's why. You know?
That's true. So let's go ahead and. Oh, my alarm's going off. So I don't know. Somebody opened the door and my alarm's going off. Give me 1 second, T. Can we get you to answer one more question? Double G says BioShock collection for the Switch. Would you want that?
Switch, yeah, I would totally want that. I only played the first BioShock. Well, I have Infinite. I never got around to playing it, but I never played 2, and I would totally be down for a BioShock collection. I feel like that might be a thing that's going to come now for sure. Yeah, I'm a fan of Bioshock. Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, my favorite games on the 360. So I would totally be down for a trilogy pack on Switch. And again, the Switch is the uniqueness of it is that you can take your games anywhere. So even the games you've beaten, you're like, oh, I'd play that again on the Switch, because it's just like I can do it anywhere. I'm not confined to my my gaming setup. So.
So yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking through some of these. Do you guys have any other questions here? I know I probably skipped a couple. Deadlock. Here we go. He has another one. PlayerEssence. Do you think Dark Souls is coming to the Switch in some form? I still believe there's going to be some form of Dark Souls, just because From Software is still listed on there, and I don't see what else From Software would do on the Switch outside of Dark Souls. I don't really see what they would do. So to me, Dark Souls would be the number one game that they would put on there, unless they have something brand new. But I don't think that they would do something brand new. So I'm thinking it's going to be Dark Souls. Maybe it's Dark Souls 2 and 3. Maybe it's Dark Souls 3 with a bunch of all of the DLC and all of the content. And they just kind of hype it up like they're doing Doom. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be Dark Souls. And I think it's going to be probably next year if they are going to do it. Obviously, it's not going to be this year. So yeah, that's my prediction. What do you think?
If anything's coming from them, it's going to be Dark Souls. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement, sometime next year. Maybe it'll come out early next year or something, in the spring or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Also, shout outs to Javier for the subscription. Thank you so much, homie. Welcome to the village. Everyone in the chat, please make Javier feel welcome. Get this man a headband as well. So let me see. Let's see. NX Revolution says, OJ, do you think we haven't seen the games from Software yet? Okay, yeah, we talked about that. The Gaming Karate Geek. Do you think other third parties should imitate? Okay, yeah, imitate Doom and release single player versions of the games, and then downloadable option for the multiplayer. What do you think about that? I'll get your opinion on that first. So it's like split up, like single player cartridge, multiplayer download.
Probably a thing going forward, especially for games that are mostly about your single player. And to have the option to not download it. I mean, I think most people will end up downloading it at some point because it's a value thing. I spent the $60 or whatever for this game, so I want to experience everything that has to come with it. I think that's a pretty cool option though, because it's like, well, I don't have to download the multiplayer right away. Maybe I'll just play the game, the single player, and then later on get into the multiplayer, download it later. So I think that's a cool. I think it's a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that's because some people don't touch the multiplayer in gaming, and some people might not even have Nintendo's online service where you have to pay for multiplayer whenever that does go. So to me, yeah, just doing a single player to where you just download you can download it, then the multiplayer if you want it, you can download it. I think that's a better option than being forced to, because I can count a lot of games that I haven't touched the multiplayer on. Like on the Xbox One, and I can count. There's a number of games where I barely touched the multiplayer on some of these games. They have multiplayer components, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. So yeah, man, I agree.
It looks interesting here. From Gaming Mage, have you all played Sin and Punishment or Sin and Punishment 2, Star Successor, and who you like to see? I guess he's trying to say, more from this franchise. Me, I'm a fan. I imported the first one because it didn't come out in North America, Sin and Punishment on N64, and I bought the Wii version of Sin and Punishment 2, and I love those games. I'm a huge Treasure fan. Treasure was like one of my favorite developers in the 16-bit to 64-bit era. And they made some amazing stuff. They were some of those guys that really pushed the hardware and made really quick, Twitch games, really fun games. They made one of my favorite N64 games as well was, oh my gosh, Shake, Shake, Shake. I can't think of the name of it right now for some reason. I went blank. Oh my God! Somebody help me in the chat.
What, from the same studio?
Mischief Makers. Mischief Makers.
Mischief Makers. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mischief Makers
N64
on
N64 game. Yeah, I remember that game on N64.
It's a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about it, but people that know about it love it. Everybody who knows about Mischief Maker loves it. And Treasure made that, and they made Sin and Punishment, and those are two of my favorite games all time. So, yeah, I would definitely look forward to a new one. It wouldn't probably be a big release. It would probably end up being maybe a because it's the gameplay in it isn't that in depth. It's a Sin and Punishment. It's a kind of a Space Harrier type of game. Mm-hmm. If you play Space Harrier,
yeah.
It's basically a shooter. It's a shooter. It just has a uniqueess to it, and it wouldn't be like a big release thing. It'd be like an eShop game probably at this point, like a $20 game. So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Sin and Punishment isn't one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, but I played Sin and Punishment, the Star successor on the Wii. I played it. I thought it was cool. I never beat it. I think I got like halfway through it or something like that. Never beat it, but I thought it was okay. But yeah, it wouldn't be anything that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to have or anything like that. If it came, cool. If it didn't, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, thank you for the question. I do appreciate that. We do have one from Enrique, and he says, OJ and T, do you think the early rumors of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 port may be true? I don't remember any rumors of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to Switch.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of that.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of that, so I'm not sure where you got that from, but it might have been from a Toby. So let's go ahead and move to the next question here. Let's see here. Dragon Chi 26 says, OJ and T, any chance you might get a port of either Ni no Kuni 1 or 2 to Nintendo Switch sometime down the road? I think Sony might have something on that one. I'm not exactly sure. I don't. Maybe we get one down the road, but I would say that it's under 50% from what I've just seen. I mean, there's been no rumblings from any of my inside sources or anybody, and I've dug, okay? I've tried to dig on this game because people have asked me about it over and over, and I have not found anything yet on it. So yeah, man, I don't think so. Right now, it's not looking good. Not looking good. Dragon Quest. I stopped playing that Dragon Quest Builders. I stopped playing that on PS4 because I was hearing some things like, okay, well, it doesn't make sense that they bring 2 and not 1. Why wouldn't that's like free money for them to bring 1 to the Switch? So that one, like, I was like, okay, I heard something, So like when people would ask about it, I'd be like, oh, maybe we get it, But I haven't heard anything about Ni no Kuni, man. Looks like Sony has that money lock on there, dude. So yeah, man. Do you think we'll get a Tales game for the Switch, Ataki Teacher? Yes, Tales is confirmed for the Switch. We just don't know which Tales game is coming. You can actually already see the listing is actually live on Bandai Namco's website as well. You can see Tales game, unspecified Tales game for the Switch. So it's confirmed. It's just we just don't know what Tales game it is. Some people are thinking that it's going to be a brand new Tales game. So I'm not sure how much you like Tales, T. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Tales fan. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we should be getting one. Just don't know what it is. Some people, I think somebody said something about Retro Studios, saying that they've lost interest in Retro Studios because they're not making, or they've lost interest in Metroid Prime 4 because they're not making it. So Retro Studios isn't making Metroid Prime 4, so they've lost interest in Metroid Prime 4. So what do you think about that? Did you lose interest in the game because Retro isn't making it?
Yeah, no, because it was a Metroid before Retro Studios. So, and if you know anything about the history of Metroid Prime, it was tumultuous. They had a lot of issues. Retro did, and Nintendo had to step in. And Retro was working on like 3 games on the GameCube. I think it was like Raven Blade, a football. Maybe it was a football game and like car combat game or something. And they had to cancel all those games because they just couldn't get up to Nintendo standards, and Nintendo had to step in. So Nintendo was just fine, I think, making Metroid games, and they'd be just fine making a Prime game too. So
I think somewhat Tanabe was also kind of pulling a lot of strings and telling them, like, there was some rumors about the.
That's what I'm saying. Like Nintendo had to step in.
Yeah, between the two. Well, even just like some rumors between Tanabe having issues with the team, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, now they're not making Metroid Prime 4. That makes me think, well, maybe what Liam Robertson from Unseen 64 was reporting was right, what he said about what happened with them, with Tanabe, like basically problems between Tanabe themselves, like attitude or whatever the case is. Like Tanabe is being a little bit, um, overbearing or whatever the case is with the game, and they're just
Well, and
demanding
another thing,
things. You know,
a lot of those people who made the Prime games are at 343. So those guys, that a lot of those core people who made Metroid Prime games aren't. They're at Microsoft now. So
or they're with the what was that team? The Record development team. They're called what are they
development
called?
team, right? They're some of those guys are over there. So
Yeah.
again, Nintendo will have no problem making a Metroid game themselves. I think you think of Prime games, we think of retro. That's understandable. I get it, but Nintendo, I think was it Miyamoto, or maybe it was Miyamoto that decided, because Retro wanted to do third person and it was just not working out.
Miyamoto.
Miyamoto. It was Miyamoto,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miyamoto was the one that talked them into doing first person.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Nintendo can make Metroid games just fine.
I think they're really they're not gonna mess this one up, after what happened with Other M and everything in the long way. I mean, we saw what Mercury Steam did with Metroid, right? So why would you not be? I was still excited for that, right? And Mercury Steam made it as far as Metroid: Samus Returns. So if Mercury Steam can make a Metroid game,
right?
Why can't Nintendo's developers make a Metroid game? So that doesn't worry me at all. But yeah, I can see why someone would be concerned a little bit, maybe.
Or what Retro is doing, though. I'm intrigued at whatever they're working on.
Yeah, definitely, man. Let's see if we have any more questions here. Some people are just answering some funny questions, some silly ones. I'm not going to answer them. I want to get people's questions answered. But we got 152 people watching. So, Mario Tennis. You want to see Mario Tennis on the Switch?
I believe we'll see some Mario sports titles in 2018. I believe, we'll probably end up getting a Strikers or Mario Tennis or something like that. I think that's a given. I feel like that's a given for 2018.
Oh, okay.
At some point. So.
Sidekick Cooper says, no, I'm not losing interest in Metroid Prime 4. I'm losing interest in Retro Studios because of their lack of games. Yeah, you know what? I don't really the teams, you can say lack of interest in them, but I mean, they work for Nintendo. They're just a development studio for Nintendo. But yeah, I guess it's kind of frustrating that they don't ever make any game. They take so long between games. But I mean, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? You just gotta wait. You gotta wait for the right time for when Nintendo says for them to put out the game. So that's
not all their fault. I mean, they have a boss. Nintendo decides what they do when they do it. So they worked on Mario Kart. They're doing things. They have side teams doing stuff too. Mm-hmm. But I'm just really excited because they're so secretive about this thing. I feel like it's going to be the next big IP for Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like something that's really maybe gritty or something. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have realistic.
Western, yeah, I feel like it's going to be a Western thing because they hired all those Deus Ex people, and that really excites me.
Maybe it's a futurist. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's I'm
hoping
a bounty hunter that's a Deus Ex type of game, where you have stealth and you have espionage, and you have different ways that you can play. I mean, I think Retro could easily make a game. Well, not easily, but I think they can really sink their teeth into something like that for the Switch. I think that would be fantastic because we don't got anything like that right now. No Metal. We don't have a Metal Gear or anything. So, maybe
big Western third party type of thing where. Mm-hmm. It's a big sci-fi action adventure game or something. I would love that.
Mm-hmm. Some sort of sci-fi type of deal, yeah, absolutely. I think that would fill a void that Nintendo doesn't have right now, right? It'd be different enough from Metroid. I would say a third-person type of game, maybe. I mean, if it was first-person,
I was thinking third-person. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, I don't think. I mean, Deus Ex is it's kind of a combination of first and third-person though, that game. So. Yeah, it's a combination of both. So I mean, whatever they decide to do, I'll be down with it, just as long as it's obviously a good game. Is it Gabby Chupi says, PlayerEssence, do you? Oh man, these messages are going so fast. Well, it just disappeared. The message just disappeared. Oh my god!
It's hard to keep up with this chat, man.
Yeah, Jesus, it was just there, just a second ago. It was there. Okay, yeah. PlayerEssence, do you think a more powerful dock will bring attention to more third party? No, because with a more powerful dock, you split your fan base. And what attracts third-party developers a lot is sales and Nintendo's bargaining chips. Nintendo bargaining talking to them, and also sales of the system. That's really what attracts third-party developers. So saying, oh, we have a more powerful dock, okay, well, who's going to buy the dock? What's your plan for the dock? Are you going to give the dock away for free to everyone? Like, is our game only going to run if someone has a dock? Well, that's going to cost us sales right there, So no, it's not a more powerful dock won't fix anything.
Switch at some point, like a new 3DS or a new Switch. I think we'll get something in that vein at some point, but you're still gonna have to cater to the lowest common denominator of gamers on Switch. So, there's only one game on 3DS that requires, well, right now anyway. I think there's going to be two, but right now there's only one game that requires.
Well, there's two: Minecraft and
yeah, that's what I meant. Well, okay. Yeah, Minecraft is out now.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, the physical version isn't out yet for Minecraft on the new Nintendo 3DS. It's just the digital version. So yeah, there's only two games with that. I mean, I think, and even then, like that didn't get like PS Vita developers. 7 years. Before that happened. And that didn't get like PS Vita developers like, oh, okay, well now we can put more on here. Like it wasn't like they all of a sudden they wanted to switch over. I think the biggest thing for Nintendo is once again is like the sales. Like if this system, it's gonna be like the Wii. I mean, if it sells similar to Wii or right underneath Wii, look at what the Wii got, guys. And T, you made a video about this. The gap was way bigger. The gap in graphics was way bigger. Like, the Switch is such a better system for third-party developers than the Wii was. I mean, the Wii got to stuff because people just reused their old PS2, Xbox engines and all that. But the Wii is such better for higher quality. There can be bigger, loyal, fan bases. I'm seeing people heaping praise on 2K and actually buying NBA 2K,
I'm buying it. I'm buying the stupid edition.
People are actually buying this game now because of the quality. Whereas, did you hear anybody talking about NBA 2K13? Because it looked like that screenshot that Mizzah T posted for the first direct feed screenshot of he was joking obviously, but NBA 2K13 on the Wii U looked like a joke. It looked. Like I said, it didn't look like I was playing with Russell Westbrook or something like that. It did not look like Russell Westbrook. It looked like the dude across the street. It looked like Westbrook Russell. It did not look like the characters did not look good. You could just tell. So I mean, it's gonna be what's gonna attract third parties is quality, making quality games, and then the sales. Like if Doom does well, you're going to see developers hop on. If the Switch continues to sell, more developers are going to be hopping on. Like, this isn't the only deals you're going to be seeing with third parties. So yeah, man.
Show up for Doom. I wouldn't, tell people to, show up for Skyrim as much, but I'd like to see that game do well. But we definitely have to show up for Doom and Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Doom to me, I think Doom is probably it's like really, really important. I think Doom's a little bit more important because it's new, it's newer, I guess. And
we had Doom on a Nintendo console since N64.
Yeah, like Doom is if Bethesda's publishing Doom, that's also a little bit more important than because Bethesda didn't eat all the costs for Skyrim, So for me, Doom is it's kind of really important that one does well, So I'm hoping that people, and I think people will though, because it really has the market to itself. Like what else?
There's no competition for that type of game on Switch. No, I'm saying there's no competition for that type of game.
Okay, yeah, no. I thought you said there is competition. I was like, what else? So yeah, there's no competition. A first-person shooter portable, a high-quality first-person shooter, that's to the level of Doom. Has that ever been done on a portable? HD graphics, that quality? I don't think it's ever been done on a dedicated portable device. Because PS Vita, maybe Killzone. That's the only thing I could potentially think of. Yeah, I know, Killzone. I actually, that's disrespectful to the Bethesda and the Doom developer.
Yeah.
That's actually really just because Doom's a lot better than Killzone. Than Killzone Mercenary. That's a high quality. It's a high quality visually, but the game is just not as good as Doom. Doom is a much better game. So yeah, sorry about that, but that's the
on PSP, and it was just it was like a third-person slanted top-down. It was terrible.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah. So this is the first time that we've really gotten anything like this. So I think people will show up though. I think it'll be it'll be good, man. We'll answer a couple more, then I'll let T get on because it's kind of late where he's at. It's going near midnight where T's at. So we'll answer a couple more guys, and then we'll be out of here. Let's see. some people are being silly. Metalhead Gamer says, OJ, Mizzah T, do you guys think that Japanese third parties will eventually come as time goes on because of the Switch, like 100% on board, like the Super Nintendo? I would think that it's going to be the most Japanese support that we've had since, like the Super Nintendo, or maybe I know the GameCube didn't have too bad a Japanese support.
It was okay.
It wasn't the best. I know there were still. I mean, there were a lot of them who just made games for PS2. There's like, oh, PS2, that's it, and DS, PS2, DS, or Game Boy Advance. I think that it's definitely going to get better and better. Obviously, like Japan, you can't ignore the sales in Japan, right? Like the Switch is destroying. That might be putting it lightly. Switch is absolutely killing everything else in Japan for the most part. So yeah, I definitely see Japanese developers pretty much all coming on board with the Switch at some point. I would say no later than by the end of 2018. If a Japanese developer announces a game and it's not like an exclusive deal with Sony or something like that, and it doesn't come to Switch, then they're stupid. Like then that's
these guys are still putting out stuff on Vita.
Yeah.
So if you don't shoot the Switch, you must not like money.
Yeah, at that point, like I would say by 2018, even like mid 2018, if you're not putting your games on Switch, if you're not announcing a Switch version, or if you're not saying that what we could be looking into it, like that's just ridiculous, because the Switch is, it's on its way. I think it's nearing 2 million sold in Japan in like a few, like what, 6 months, 7 months, like that's ridiculous. By the end of the year, it can legit have like 3-4 million sales in Japan. Maybe not 4 million. They won't have the stock for that. It just depends. But it can legit have 3 million sales by the end of the year. The PS4 has 5 million. So it can legit have more than half of the PS4 sales in not even the first year. And by March, it's definitely going to be at 4 million in Japan. I mean, this as long as stock's there. So
like you said, they will sell as much as they have, no problem.
In Japan, definitely, like 100%. Yeah, especially in Japan. And like Dragon Quest is still coming, right?
Gosh.
Yeah, there's still Dragon Quest to that system in Japan, which I personally feel people are holding out on. Like looking at the sales, stuff's tailing off, man. It's tailing off a little bit more than I thought it would. Like I knew that it was obviously sales drop, right? But like it's like tailing off, like well off of like. It's not like 30 or 40,000. Like I thought it would be like, okay, consistent 30, 40,000 a week. It's like a 10, 11, 9,000. It's like in that range, and I'm like, whoa, already? Like Splatoon is still selling 40, 50,000 a pop. Sometimes even more. So it's like, it's being crazy. Yeah, it's being outsold by Splatoon. A single system is outselling the combined sales of Dragon Quest on PS4 and Nintendo 3DS. So, that tells me that people are waiting. that tells me that people are waiting, because you can't say you're being outsold by Splatoon on a system with a 1.8 million or whatever, or 2 million, between two systems that have 5 million, one has 23 million. So you have nearly 30 million systems, or going on 30 million, and you're getting outsold by Splatoon 2. And this is Dragon Quest we're talking about here. This isn't this is a huge franchise in Japan. So to me, that kind of just shows there's a lot of Japanese gamers waiting for Splatoon or for Dragon Quest on the Switch. Yeah.
You have a console that's 6-7 months old, and it already has games that have sold better, like exclusives, like that have sold better than exclusives on the other consoles that have been out for 4 years. Like, it's mind-blowing to me.
Nintendo just has to keep it up. But I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. We're going to call the questions right there. I do want to point you guys in the direction of Mizzah T's channel. Now, Mizzah T, you want to go ahead and let people know, because I know I've had some new subscribers, quite a bit from the last time that I had you on. So you want to let people know, what is your channel about? What do you do on your channel?
I try to do it all. Like I mostly do, like I do discussion videos. I have a nice little gimmick or whatever I use. Occasionally I'll use my Mizzah T puppet. And I graduated film school, so I'm a filmmaker. So I have this. I have
He has superior.
Probably a little bit more.
He has
Yeah,
superior editing skills, guys. You can go ahead and say it. Okay, he has
I don't
superior
like to
editing.
brag about myself,
I
but you
don't.
know,
I don't care. I'll brag about for you. Look, since you don't want to, see, you seem very tentative. Okay, T. So I will let you guys know about him. Okay, so I've been following Mizzah T down since 2013. I think that's when you started your channel, if I'm not correct.
2013.
2013, and his channel, no matter ups and downs that we've never had anything major, but there's always been times that, hey, like, well, I don't like this that you said. We've talked about it. It's almost like brother type of deal sometimes, you know.
And we talk about it in squash.
Exactly, we've talked about it in squash, and I don't think it was really ever. I don't think any of us we knew that it wasn't going to be squashed anyway. You know what I'm saying? It was always like, okay, well, we'll just get around to talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But Mizzah T has been one of the most consistent and best YouTubers on here. He has very creative content. He has very funny content, and his content is very well thought out. Like, whenever he makes a video when it comes to things, whether it's his discussion videos, whether it's his, sometimes negative videos, or sometimes talking about the Switch or talking about what Nintendo's doing, you can always expect to get a fair, balanced opinion and honest opinion from Mizzah T. So I think that's what makes Mizzah T's channel one of the best Nintendo channels, is because he has those editing skills, and he combines that with his just practical knowledge and vast knowledge of Nintendo over the years, because Mizzah T is Mizzah T's an old school cat, you know, like
old school gamer, yeah.
Yeah, he's older school than I am, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of my fans make fun of me. A lot of my fans make fun of me for how old school I am. They're talking about, what's this OJ guy talking about AAA back in the day? Like, oh god, whatever. Because like I always talk about how AAA back in the day wasn't necessarily just budget, you know, like it was like the quality of the game. Whereas now, like, people just kind of throw AAA around like, oh, well, if you spent $40 million in your game, it must be AAA and really good, right? It's like, no, Mass Effect Andromeda, I don't consider that AAA, but a lot of people do. But anyway, subscribe to Mizzah T, guys.
Owned was a Atari 5200. That was my first console that I actually owned. So that lets you know I go back a ways.
Yeah, like, especially when he starts like, okay, you know what my favorite video for Mizzah T is? My favorite video is when you talked about the Sega Saturn. That was one of my favorite videos. I know you talked about it multiple times, but you talked about
I do mini documentaries once in a while. I did one for Star Fox. I did one for, like you said, Sega Saturn.
Dude, watch the Sega Saturn one, guys. Watch that one. Like, I almost had like a single tear going down my eye, because it was like you remembered how gaming was back then, the mystique, the intrigue. Like, you didn't know about this stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you can read about it in gaming magazines, but it's so cool to go back and look at some of the stuff. And I really love
there,
that.
so I remember what it was like.
And he broke it down, and it was one of my favorite videos till this day. It was still one of my favorite videos that you've done. But he also does Let's Plays. He does discussions. So he does all sorts of stuff. So yeah, man, make sure you guys subscribe. I'll put his channel in the chat again, guys. So make sure you subscribe. And look forward, because we do have more. I see Rob from Rule of Two Review here, and we are going to have Rob from Rule of Two Review coming on, along with Sean Long. I was going to call him Retro Gaming Tube. I was thinking which one to call him. So Sean Long from Retro Gaming Tube. We're going to have him tomorrow on the channel, and maybe Rob from Rule of Two Review. Rob, he can come. We don't know yet.
YouTube, you gotta.
Yeah, so make sure you check him out as well. So yeah, a lot of great stuff. A lot of
I
great
just want to quickly
stuff,
say, like you said, we go back in the YouTube gamosphere, and you were like one of the first dudes that jumped on my channel. It was like back when you had the website, you were promoting my videos, so I'll always be grateful to you for that. Like you said, we bump heads once in a while, but it's nothing that serious. And,
no, it's never anything that serious. We just bump just because we do. It's not even like, lots of people bump heads, you know.
Dudes, you know, who are passionate about gaming. That's gonna happen, you know. So
absolutely, but it's like I said, it's never anything that we can't. Like, I'm never gonna be like, oh well, screw you, Mizzah T. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm never, I'm never gonna be like that. Help me out on
some lighting stuff, you know. Or, what do I need to do this? You know, we have that relationship, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had to like ask like Mizzah T, like, hey, can you help me with this, or what's the best way to do certain things here? So he's helped me quite a bit over the years, and like I said, as long as he's on here, I don't think I'm ever gonna not talk to Mizzah T or have him on my show at some point or interact with him or watch his videos, as long as he's on YouTube. So yeah, man, it was good to have you on.
Videos every day, I share, so.
Yeah, subscribe, guys. I mean, I don't think there's really any reason why you guys can't subscribe. But what about Spawnwave? Spawnwave's awesome. He's a newer YouTuber though. I'm talking about guys that went old school. You know, Swan Wave, he just started his channel at the end of last year.
We go back and we we had our wars with other people and
Oh,
we're so past that. I'm glad that we're past that kind of stuff. And like, I'm starting to hit a groove on my channel. You obviously hit a groove in the last year or so. So it's a cool thing to see. So.
Yeah. Well, you just kind of have to learn just to block it out, right? Like
yeah,
before it was
that stuff alone.
I think real quick before we do get off here, T. Sorry to keep you on for longer, but I think one of the biggest things, it's like really the other side as far as this stuff. It's like it's hard for them to just. Like, because, like, you see the moving goalposts. Before with Wii U, it's like, okay, well, nothing's selling. You know, it's not selling. You know, it's not getting as many games. We're not getting any big third-party announcements. So it was harder and harder. But with the Switch, it's like, okay, just say whatever you want. Like, when I heard one of these people like say, oh, well, I think Sonic Mania, it's better on the other systems, not Switch, because of achievements. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, yeah, being able to play the game anywhere you want, a 2D Sonic game, that doesn't matter.
Knuckles, I played all those without achievements, and they were just fine.
Yeah. I think I'd rather have access to Sonic Mania wherever I want, considering it can be a pick up and play game. I think that might be more important than having.
I like waiting at the doctor's office and being able to just pull that thing out. And play
I honestly think that's more important than achievements. But hey, if you think that, go ahead. You know, whereas now it's just the Switch is just getting so much. It's almost like, okay, well, just.
It's not like you have to have either or. It's not like, oh. I could play on the go, so I don't have achievements. Achievements could come. That's still a thing that could happen on the Switch.
It could, and there's been some rumors with the whole Lich Sphere developer who said that Nintendo's working on an achievement system. It's just I don't have like I know what achievements are about, and I just don't have the time to really invest to getting them. Like, because nothing's crappier than like looking at an achievement list and seeing like you have a bunch of missing achievements.
Yeah, like that's because I'm not an achievement hunter, and I have Xbox One, I have a PS4, and I just feel it makes me feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough in the game.
Exactly. Like, how are you gonna
beat it, and I feel good about beating it.
How are you gonna beat a game and have 5 achievements?
No, right? Like, so it just makes me feel bad.
Yeah, you just feel like, man, did I beat the game? Hold up here. Did I beat this game? So yeah, man, yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Mizzah T, for having me. Also, make sure you follow Mizzah T at Mizzah T. There's an underscore between the Mizzah and the T. So yeah, man, we are out of this. And thank you guys so much. We got more content coming, guys. You'll have videos in the morning, and you'll also have a live stream tomorrow as well. So look forward to at least three to four videos tomorrow. So that should be fun as well. So anything else, T, or we out of here?
Thanks for having me on, man. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to the guys. I saw some people say they subscribed. Thank you for that. I appreciate every subscription. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely make sure you check it out. Check out Mizzah T's videos. I'll put it one more time in the chat for you guys. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys for the next video. Peace out.